From Providence, Rhode Island, welcome to This Is Us Too. It's a podcast dedicated to This Is Us on NBC, so sit back, relax, and let's all have a good cry. Hi everyone, welcome back. My name's Mary Larson.
My name is Blake, and I can't believe, Mary, that this is actually technically the first listener feedback episode we've ever done for This Is Us.
You're right.
At the penultimate episode of the entire series, we're finally doing a listener feedback episode. Pretty wild.
It is. But it's worthy. This episode is worthy of an entire episode devoted to what other people think.
Right. And just for, being upfront about this all, the finale has already happened. Mary and I have already watched the finale, and we've already cried all the tears. But all of you have come to us to get your ideas out about the penultimate episode, about the train. And we thought, you know what, let's get this done before we talk about the finale.
We also realized that we did not do a personal story, nor did we do it in or out for the penultimate. We did not. So that is what's coming. And Blake is going to tell a story.
I am.
You listen, with the amount that you cried, you gotta have a story.
I mean, I don't have a story necessarily. I mean, how can you relate? I mean,
you said you were relating, thinking about your mom. That whole night you cried.
Yeah, I mean,
and you said
I cried the whole night of the finale.
Yeah, but you were saying like, I wonder.
Yeah. So all right. So here's what I'll say.
I wonder if my mom's alone.
Right. Here's what I'll say. I was so happy that Rebecca.
In the penultimate, we're on the train?
In the penultimate was on the train.
Okay.
Because my mother, as most of you know, she passed away very suddenly. And it was like 1 minute she was there, the next second she was gone. And that was that. She had a brain aneurysm. And to top it all off, I wasn't even there. She was in Florida. I was in Massachusetts.
Basically the Pearsons, like 18 years old, quickly lost a parent, was not expecting that.
Right. And I was in college, so I hadn't seen her for a number of months. And the next time that I see her, she's in a casket, right? So it's a weird feeling. And the thing that I always want, or at least hope, is that my mother had a similar situation like Rebecca, where she was in whatever capacity that she was, and she was able to relive all of the things that made her who she was. And oddly enough, I took great comfort in this episode because there was somebody there for Rebecca. There was somebody there for, her, passage. And I just think that was and there was a whole experience dedicated to it, right? There was a whole transition, if you will. And I found that very comforting for some reason. Mm. And I'm just glad that there was someone there for Rebecca, and hopefully that there was somebody there for my mother to be like, okay, we're going on.
Yeah. Cause you were thinking like, who would it be? Because your dad's still alive.
Yeah.
You guys are all still alive.
Yep. If knowing my mother,
your mom's siblings are all alive.
It would be her dad.
Okay.
Knowing my mother.
Nice.
My mother and her dad had a very special relationship. Though I wasn't, I was only 3 when he died, right? So I didn't really know him. The only way I know him is basically through pictures. But I know that they had a very close relationship, so I imagine it would be him. And I remember telling Mary, if I'm gonna go, this is the way that I would love for it to be, where, you get a chance to be a part of your life and not relive it, but just take all the things that are important to you with you and then go with that person that you love most. Right. And, obviously for me, that would be Mary. And I remember just thinking about that and being very, very sad, but also very happy about that and feeling very comforted by that notion. And again, the ending of the train was spectacular. Like you just, for what it is and what the show tried to accomplish, you just can't do any better than what it was.
Agreed.
So that's that. I guess that would be my personal story.
I will say, I'm going to add a little addendum.
Okay.
One of the meditations that I did this week, I use a meditation app, and they have, 10-minute sessions, and you focus on different phrases. And on Tuesday, This Is Us Day, it was on journeys, and about how we often focus on things before a journey, but like getting to a place, so whether it's in a car, a train, a plane, you're always thinking about your destination. You're always thinking about the events that you're doing there. And the journey isn't something that is frequently thought of. It's an afterthought. I just want to hurry up and get through this. And so the meditation was to be more mindful in your journeys and, to experience them more. And I just loved that idea while we watched the train episode. It was just so poignant that was the meditation, to enjoy journeys and to look forward to journeys, whatever that may be. Think about all the different things that you do in life where you have a goal of accomplishing a task. You're going to run a 5K. And I can't wait until I can run my 5K. I can't wait until the race. I can't wait until I can do this. But what if you flipped it and you really, truly enjoyed the process of learning how to walk that long, how to jog that long, how to run that long, and just to be present even more in those bits.
Interesting.
So I just loved that. I did it while I had my acupuncture, so I'm sitting there very still with needles all on my face, listening to Enjoying a Journey, thinking about Rebecca's journey and how beautiful that the show truly got to embrace that minute time frame, and so I hope that we can all enjoy little journeys today.
Nice. Very good. All right. So my next question for you, Mary, is do you want to do the in or out first, or do you want to do the feedback first?
How about let's do the in or out in the middle?
Oh, sure. Why not?
Just to mix it up, man.
Okay. All right. So
I sometimes just get bored having to listen, and the cat plays with me, and then I end up playing with the cat and I don't listen to the end of it. So basically, my personally diagnosed ADHD thinks if you keep me on my toes, and I think I'm going to have to be ready at any second. I don't know when he's going to surprise me with
you would think,
out.
Mary, that you'd just be able to listen to someone's voicemail and just pay attention to that.
I usually can.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Lumos is here, and I don't know if you could tell, but she's really active, and if it comes between a cat playing with me and listening to a voicemail, I cannot promise the voicemail.
We already know that there's a Mary and Blake Media Hall of Fame moment of you playing with the cat.
I know.
So go to youtube.com and
I'm just being honest.
Look up Mary and Blake's
We've
Hall
been
of
this
Fame moment
far
with the cat.
on our This Is Us journey.
Yeah.
I get distracted by my cat.
Yep. You know what? You're just saying your truth, Mary. That's the thing.
Hey, if I'm nothing else, I'm honest. That's what I tell my parents on Christmas when I start a fight. Nothing else. I'm Kevin.
Yeah. Give me the hat. All right, fine. Here we go. Let's get into the voicemails.
And we said,
that's 3.
Big 3?
Big 3!
All right, first one.
Hi, Mary and Blake. It's Emily from DC.
Hi, Emily.
So I'm starting college at Tufts outside of Boston next fall. So
Yay!
maybe I'll be your future cousin from Boston. Okay, so this episode was everything.
Emily, you're not yet the cousin from Boston.
And
but
she speaks so kindly.
I know.
We got to toughen her up with the New England winter.
Yeah, Emily, you need to get some thicker blood. I can
Come
already
on
feel
up
it.
here. Have a Guinness. Go outside in some booty shorts.
Rip a couple of
Uggs.
cigs.
Yeah.
Come out of the
Get in a
packy.
fight. Take some girl's Red Sox hat off her head at a bar.
Go to the fishing pier, grab some fish.
Say, who do you think you are? I'm Emily from DC.
I'll kick your butt.
I know things.
So, you know what? In honor of you going to Tufts, okay, congratulations. Here it is.
Your cousin from Boston.
You're welcome. All right, Emily, go ahead.
But I wanted to talk about something that I'm having trouble making peace with that I'm not sure a lot of people will be able to relate to.
Okay.
And that's how content these characters are in their relationships. Kevin and Sophie, Kate and Philip, Randall and Beth, Madison and Elijah, Deja and Malik, Nikki and Edie. They're all so content with each other, and this should be a good thing, except for network TV has taught me that unless a relationship is in its early flirty stages or it's falling apart, then that relationship is not worth being interested in or caring about. And I want to take these characters with me through all the struggles in my life, and I feel like I'm having trouble doing that when they're just so happy. And yes, Rebecca's dying, and it's the saddest time, or one of the saddest times of their lives, but I'm still having trouble seeing the This Is Us 2 with just how sugar-coatedly happy these characters' relationships with each other seem. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that because I respect your guys' opinions a lot.
Marvin, your thoughts. Well, you're welcome, Emily. Thank you for calling it. And it's a fantastic question, by the way. Your thoughts.
So by Emily saying this, Emily, if I'm wrong, please let me know. I feel like Emily has not found her person yet by her saying that.
Because that's what it feels like. Yep.
I feel like when you have your person, that hopefully during times of loss, you are able to reflect in how grateful you are to have each other and to have this family. Because I agree, there's merriment, they're laughing, they're having the Chinese food, they're playing Jenga. Mm-hmm. There are those moments of sweetness and joy. But this family is so blessed that Rebecca gave them each other. And I think that because they've been able to prepare for Rebecca's death for so long, that they truly are seeing this as a blessing that they get to come together and say goodbye. Because people like Blake didn't get that. It was abrupt. It was quick. It was shocking. Heck, look at how messed up all the Pearsons were after Jack's death.
Oh, yeah.
Messed up, baby. But now they've had like a decade to digest.
Well, more than that.
To enjoy the little moments, to enjoy each other. I know that Blake, because of his loss of his mother, he does not take moments of death lightly. Mm-hmm. And he gets very grateful for what he does have when mortality is at stake or talked about, right? You get super certainly. Mushy and like, I want to hug everybody. I mean, hell, after the finale, our kid was up, and usually Blake is not like Jack Pearson. Okay, I gotta say, he'll be like, go to bed. He'll be a Nikki Pearson. Blake is the crotchety, like old man character.
Yeah, in Up.
So usually,
I'm Carl from Up.
I mean, you guys are our listeners. Our kids don't sleep. Okay, they suck. I love them. They don't suck, but they suck at sleeping.
Yes, they do.
And it's one thing if they interrupt a podcast. But if they interrupt a gosh darn episode of This Is Us, and we are mid-Randon Pearsall sized here, like, watch out, baby. And I was worried because our eldest came in, and I was worried that Blake was going to say, "What are you doing up?" And instead, Blake just held our son and cried and told him he loved him. And I think that because they've already had loss, mm-hmm. and because they've been able to have so much time to say goodbye to their mom and to kind of see life in that perspective, that they were able to make that spin. I'd also be interested to know, Emily, what nationality your family is and what grieving normally is like for you and your loved ones, because I think different cultures and different people handle it differently.
Yep. I would agree with that. As we talked about in the last podcast, if you're Irish, it's going to be a lot different, than if you're Greek or if you're Italian or if you're, whatever. I don't know. It's just, there's a difference, and it is what it is.
I have one more thing before you jump. Do you want me to wait?
Well, I want to approach her question from a different angle, but what do you got to say?
I also think that we need to keep into perspective that there's no alcohol in this house. That
yes.
Maybe Beth might have had a glass. I don't really remember.
She's got her CBD now.
Yeah, because she's around Nikki and Kevin. Now you got two people in recovery.
Sure.
And I think when a lot of alcohol is consumed during grief and during difficult times, families do have more firecracker emotions and fights and crying. And so if we keep into perspective that these people are, from what I can tell, sober, there's kids in the room, so they don't want to be like fighting and crying, and they don't want to make it bad for the kids. You know, maybe if the kids, like we see Kevin and Randall be sad when the kids go to bed.
Yes.
So,
and as Deja says, like there's no rules for any of this, right? There are no rules for how to act or what to do, how to say it, you know, when to say it. It just, you just kind of going by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
The other approach I wanted to take to this question, Mary, and for you, Emily, is this. It's the writing portion of it, which is all of the, you're not as interested because there's no drama between the characters, right? And that is by design in this, by this point, right? Everybody is content in their relationship because they've gone through their arc. Now, can you get other arcs and can you manufacture them? Sure. I'm sure that there's stuff that the writers could do, but anybody watches television for change. Your brain, you may not know it, but your brain does, right? So you're looking for change one way or the other. If it's, and you even said it, Emily, it's like if it's not the flirtatious love thing, or if it's not the marriage falling apart thing, then it's just you're content. And you like watching the flirtatious love thing, and you like watching the fall apart thing because those are agents of change. Where we are now with our characters, they're content because their arc is complete. They found the people that they love. They are where they are. And the focus now is about the change for Rebecca, not about the change for each character. And that's a big deal. And that is why when you see all these people happy and you have a hard time accepting it, it's because you're just so used to seeing them change. Now they're not changing anymore.
And they're older and wiser. I feel like that's one of the things I tell Blake. I can't wait till I'm older and I have 0 Fs to give. Already, I'm not going to lie, COVID's chilled me the heck out.
In many ways, it's totally chills you out. In many ways, it's made things complicated.
It's complicated because I care less about other things outside of my family. I've become a Pearson.
I think you're getting there, yeah. I think you're getting there.
Not my family, not my problem.
That's true. All right, let's get to the next one.
Hi, Mary and Blake. It's Alex from Montreal. You might remember me as the one who really did not like The Night Before the Wedding.
Yes.
So I decided to call in about The Train to balance out that negativity with an enthusiastic 5+ rating.
All right, Alex.
Episode of all time is Super Bowl Sunday, but I think The Train is a very close second. I think William being Rebecca's spiritual guide was a very inspired choice because of how heavily the thought of William weighed on her spirit for so much of her life. I thought it was very poignant that she was taken away from Miguel before their conversation could really get going. Dr. K, don't even get me started, please.
Yes.
Annie getting a moment in the limelight where we find out Rebecca told her it's okay to be quiet. Thank you for remembering that Annie exists. Woo! Those are all my goods. My great Marcus and his family. I'm not sure if this will be controversial, but this was a classic, perfect This Is Us twist. They tried to get us to think that Marcus was the father of Deja's baby. I'm here thinking, this is too easy. There has to be a twist coming. Malik walks in. I celebrate because I'm right. But I did not foresee Marcus's father running into Jack in his burnt clothes the night of the 1998 Super Bowl. That reveal was really something special. And we get exposed to the reality that if the doctor had been with Jack, then Marcus may not have made it. Or as Randall would say, the dichotomy between old life and new life, and how old life is always informing the heir of new life, just like Jack passes on Dr. K's wisdom to these strangers in the very final moments of his life. And I'm going to make a quick part 2.
Alex, you've earned it. Let's go.
Alex here with part 2, and my best from The Train was the scene in the middle of the show with the family sharing old stories about Rebecca. I loved seeing Teen Jack recognize Joni Mitchell's music immediately, and all the other kids growing up a little bit, while Beth and Madison and Uncle Nicky and everyone celebrate Rebecca's life. Honestly, an entire episode spent on that conversation would have been fine by me. My only itsy-bitsy minor complaint about the episode is that we didn't see Rebecca's parents on the train, not to mention her obscure and nameless sister, but you'd at least expect to see the two people who raised her on this journey through her memories. Nevertheless, I could gush over every single detail of this episode. I think it's pretty clear that it was the emotional finale to the story, so to speak, but I have no doubt that next week's actual finale is going to be a stunning epilogue that warmly bids us goodbye.
Wow. You see her dad in the beginning.
Yes.
When she's on the train and she's reading Catcher in the Rye.
Correct.
You see the man. You don't see the mom. And I do think that it's poignant that her parents aren't on the train.
Yeah, I think it is too, because, she can, the way that I see it, that she is taking the most important people of her life that she deems most important with her, and she sees her family as the most important people. Mm-hmm. And it's okay. Like, if it's me, I'm not taking my dad with me. And like, we know that she had a slightly contentious relationship with her parents. I'm not taking my dad.
Oh, that sweet potato casserole. Watch out. Baby.
I know, right? You're right. It's an interesting notion, Alex. Interesting. Here's one thing that I do like too, Alex, that you brought up, but you didn't mention it this specifically, but I think you're circling it, which is all the conversations happening at the dinner time between all the family members about Rebecca. And there's something that happens which is really cool, and that is talking about Pilgrim Rick and how that came about. And they don't even know.
That's at the bed, Kevin and Randall.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Like those conversations are happening.
Yeah.
And that conversation is a really cool one because, every family has these things that happen or that they do, and they don't even remember why they do them or for, the reasoning behind them or whatever. Like we have plum pudding. Why do we have plum pudding? Why is it even called plum pudding?
No idea.
Because it ain't full of plums and it ain't pudding, but it's plum pudding. I don't know why we do it, but we do because it's the thing that we do. So everybody, I love how there's this
that Kevin's now at a point that he thinks Pilgrim Rick had to be real because Dad couldn't make something like that up.
Right.
And so that's going to go down in Pearson folklore that there must have been.
It must have been a Pilgrim Rick. So really cool. All right, let's get the next one.
Hey, Mary and Blake. This is Precious calling again from Baltimore, Maryland.
Hi, Precious.
This is for Rebecca's Goodbye. Absolutely love this episode. It's a 5 for me. Honestly, I don't really have a bad. I have a lot of good moments. So my absolute favorite moments was, okay, I'm probably in the minority here, but at the first scene, I hate that they introduce a new family. Like, what is going on? We have literally 1 episode left. What are we going to do with this? But I love how they tied it back to the Pearsons. It kind of taught me in a way that, hey, that you meet people every single day, and you never know how one word, one action could stay with someone that you probably would never meet again years into the future. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it kind of made me think about my actions and what I do going forward. That's my ultimate. Now, my other parts, I love that they all got to say goodbye. I love that they sat around talking about Rebecca and talking about Jack and your family, and they were all laughing, sharing stories. I loved seeing that, that Kate is a boss now and she's doing her thing. Sometimes it takes a little bit for us to figure out what we're going to do with our lives, but I love that she found that for her. I just love this episode, and I'm sad it's ending. So what are you guys' thoughts? Let me know. Bye.
I too love that Kate is boss babe, like running around, traveling internationally.
Yeah. Making curriculums for kids and doing the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a standout moment for me too, because I think we've often felt like Kate has had more of a quiet storyline.
Sure.
Into that kind of a growth. Obviously a lot of personal growth and relationship growth. But I don't know if we mentioned that in the previous episode.
No, we did not.
Thank you so much, Precious, for reminding us of that.
Hi, Mary and Blake. This is Megan from Ottawa. I'm calling about This Is Us, Season 6, Episode 17
Hi, Megan.
of The Train. I'm going to send you my feedback in 2 messages. I give this
She already
5
knows.
lemonades mixed with lots of tears. It wasn't a perfect episode for me, but I give it 5 for the magnitude of what this episode is and what it represents, and also the degree of difficulty that the writers used. My good was the realistic family moments of people waiting at the house with food and memories. I loved Beth, Toby, and Sophie's goodbyes. They were a perfect blend of humor and love. I am Team Toby all the way. I also loved seeing Annie and how she thanked Rebecca for telling her it was okay to be quiet. This also addresses the concern of Annie getting no lines. My bad would be that we did not see the goodbyes from Tess, Deja, and Nikki. Obviously, they had them, but I would have liked to see them. I would have also loved to see Kyle on the train. I think the loss of Kyle sometimes gets lost in the show, but Rebecca would have always remembered him, and I'd like to see him more in this episode. That brings me to my great, which is the recontextualization of the "when life brings you lemons" comment and Jack's death. The show originally portrayed Jack as the one who made lemonade out of lemons, but Dr. K clearly reminded us that Rebecca was doing this all the time. I'm running out of time, so I will give my rest in the next segment.
All right.
Hi, Mary and Blake. This is Megan from Ottawa with the rest of my feedback for This Is Us, Season 6, Episode 17, The Train. The second part of my grade is the recontextualization of Jack's death. I know some people may not like this because that storyline took away from time that we could spend with the Pearsons while they were saying goodbye. However, I think it demonstrates what William was trying to tell Rebecca, that we need to see the joy as well as the sadness, and it just broadens our view of the Pearsons and their family. I also think that it works because in the Super Bowl Sunday episode, we first see the aged Randall. So even when we thought we were watching Jack's death, the episodes about Jack's death were actually starting to prepare us for Rebecca's death. Therefore, it only makes sense that in the episode where Rebecca dies, we would go back to Jack's death. I finally have a hot take that I'd like to get your thoughts on.
Ooh, okay.
I know some people are concerned that the last few episodes have sped through time and not given us a lot of detail about the romances and careers of the big three in their later years. My theory is that this writing mirrors what Randall talks about at Kate's wedding, that as you age, time speeds up and things happen faster. I think that's what they're trying to show in the writing of this. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. You two are my favorite extended members of the Pearson family, and I will miss you so much. 5+ lemonade on your podcast.
Oh, thank you, Megan. And I love your pull there from the writing about the, like, you know, if life is going at you fast, you know, it kind of reminds me of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You know, life happens fast. If you don't stop and take a look around every once in a while, you're going to miss it. It's great, yeah, because the train keeps barreling, right? That no matter what, the train keeps moving, and Rebecca keeps getting pushed along with, you know,
Gently pushed, but nudged by William.
Nudged by William, but also nudged by Dr. K.
Yeah.
And you know, there are members of her family that are there, but they're not like struggling to talk to her. They're not holding her back. They're there, they're present, and she's being nudged through them. Yeah, man, life happens fast. All versions of the kids are all coming at her all at once. I really like that poll. That's good. Very, very smart, Megan.
You know, I know a lot of people have mentioned about the absence of Kyle, and thinking about it in perspective now with the absence of her parents, you think about the people who made the most impact on her life. And I think those are the people on the train.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that she didn't know Kyle.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
I don't know how they would have visually shown Kyle.
Yeah, because they can't show him grown up.
And Rebecca always mourns the loss of her child. So we all know it's there. But his loss brought Randall into their lives. And I wonder, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I don't know how they would have done that, because we wouldn't have had Kyle grown up showing memories.
Right, and you're not just going to have a baby just like sitting there.
Yeah.
Because
the baby never, wasn't born alive.
So
they lost the baby.
And there was an acknowledgement of Kyle.
Yes. And that's what I mean. I think that was the only way there could be it. Like, yes, this was a monumental thing in your life.
Yes.
But I don't think it would have made us feel good at all to see a wrapped up baby.
Yeah. Like in any capacity. Like,
no.
I think it would have taken away from...
It was already sad.
It was already sad. It was bittersweet.
Yeah.
And the fact that that Kyle got a mention, I think, is enough.
Same.
I think is enough. All right, let's do the next one.
Hi, Mary and Blake. This is Fran from New Jersey.
Hi, Fran.
Hi,
I'm going to
Fran.
give this episode 4.8 lemonades, and this message is probably going to be 2 parts. I thought there was so much about this episode that was great. I thought that they gave Rebecca a really dignified death and an appropriate send-off. I loved the callbacks that they put in the episode that you really had to look to see, like the mug and the growth chart and, adult Randall doing push-ups with little Randall and showing the kids at various ages of their life on the train, and Dr. K's words about earning a rest. I thought that was all really, really beautiful. But my ultimate great was that they gave Rebecca the wherewithal to know that Kate was not there, and they allowed her to hang on until she did get there, and that she used her last bit of energy to squeeze Randall's hand to let them know that she knew they were all there with her. I thought that was all just really, really beautiful and emotional. Where I thought the episode kind of missed a little bit was I felt that they made Miguel a little bit of a footnote in Rebecca's train dream. I feel like that contradicted the beautiful episode that we saw that kind of really emphasized that he wasn't just a seat filler for Jack, and that they really did have a relationship that was just as important.
Oh, she knew she was coming to the end of her voicemail. Hold on.
Hi, it's Fran again. Deja and Malik did not need to take up time in this episode. We already knew Deja was pregnant. Malik could have shown up at the funeral. It would have accomplished the same thing. But instead, Malik is taking up time on our screen. We didn't get to see Tess say goodbye. We didn't get to see Uncle Nicky say goodbye. So, I thought this was an oddly placed story. And I feel like it took up time that I wanted to see the big three. I wanted, emotional breakdown goodbyes. Their goodbyes were relatively tame for what I was expecting. And I wish we had more time with them. But I think the biggest issue I had with this episode was #whoarethay. We spent a lot of time with that family. And I think that the family could have served to show, okay, they had a tragedy the same night as the fire. Their situation ended up, better. Their son survives. Jack dies, but Jack still touched their lives. And, they're strangers to the Pearsons. The Pearsons are strangers to them, but they are interconnected. That's a cool thing to show. Or they could have been the family who had a child who grew up to cure Alzheimer's. But the fact that this family served as both, it was just a step too far outside of reality. But ultimately, I really loved the episode as a whole. I really love the show as a whole, and I'm really going to miss listening to you guys.
Oh, well, you can still listen to us at maryandblake.com and on any of your Apple Podcasts or any of the other podcast platforms, if you will, for any of the other shows that we cover. Mary, I think there is a debate to be had here about something that Fran says, which is, are you okay with the character choices that are made for the goodbyes?
I am.
How come? You don't get Nicky. Nicky doesn't have something, which is fine.
We know he says goodbye. We know everyone in there said goodbye. We know that. I think that's an unwritten thing.
Sure, but
everyone
you don't see it. Okay, so here's the thing. Why show Peggy instead of Nicky, right? And I'm not saying that they shouldn't have. I'm just saying, what's the point?
I think Annie represents all of the grandkids. I think Annie going in, she speaks, and we are supposed to take it that all of the grandkids got to speak. But in my opinion, we have been begging for Annie.
Gotcha.
That if you had to pick one, and it wasn't Annie,
yeah,
you did us dirty.
I was reading that there is a version, at least written, that each character had a goodbye moment.
I believe that.
And then Dan Fogelman was reading through it and realized, ooh,
it's going to take too long. Be
here.
too sad.
Too long. Too much.
And what would be said for some of those characters that we would have needed? You know, it's like when you get ice cream with sprinkles. At a certain point, you add more sprinkles and they just fall off. You know?
That's true. You can over-sprinkle ice cream.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like had you put more people in there, it would have been over-sprinkled. And Nikki, in my opinion, didn't really alter the course of Rebecca's life. I don't think Miguel altered the course of Rebecca's life too much. Mm-hmm. Was he her partner? Did he keep her company? Yes. But did he fundamentally change her as a person? No. So I think that is why Miguel got a very little time, whereas William fundamentally changed Rebecca as a person. Dr. K fundamentally changed Rebecca as a person.
Good. Okay.
Everyone on the choo-choo train did.
I can.
That's why parents didn't. That's why Kyle wasn't on it.
Yeah.
And I don't think Nikki would have said anything. Nikki would have been fun because it would be like, hey, tell him I said hi and I'll be right there. Yeah. You know? That's what Nikki would have said. He would have cracked a joke.
He would have had something, yeah.
But he would have had a joke. And the levity, I think, came from Toby.
Right.
So if you added Nikki for levity, it would have been Toby. If you wanted Nikki to give a shout out like tell Jack I said hi, that's what Randall does. And Randall's is so much better. Hey, tell him hey.
Yeah. And then here's another thing that you got to get into as well. And it's not just about the length of time, but it's also the pacing of your episode, right? If you have to break the pace of your episode to give a goodbye, to give a moment to every single person, it's like, whoa.
And Beth is the only one that can speak as a mother to her at that depth. You know, Madison can't be like, all I want to be is you when I grow up.
Well, Kate.
Kate's on a plane, baby.
Good point.
She gets to say, hi, Mom. It's me, Bug. Dead. Can't fit in. All I want to be like is you. You are this big mom influent. No, she doesn't have time for that. Beth got to have the novel. Beth was smart. If you guys need to say goodbye to someone before they die, you get that first slot.
Oh, absolutely.
Because she could have gone at any moment.
Yep, that's it. Because you don't know how long it's going to last.
You know, I will volunteer as tribute. That was
Beth. Also, again, great levity in this, and great balance in this episode where Randall comes up to her and says, "Hey, what'd you say? I'm not telling you. It's a secret." You know, and then Randall, I got a secret too. Yeah, Deja's pregnant. Sure. Like a great balance, and that is what I mean by pacing, right? Because if you stuck with Beth and then you moved on to the next person, and then you moved on to the next, it's going to drag. It's going to be the pod race in Star Wars Episode 1. It just goes on forever.
Stop hating on the pod race. I love the pod race. It
never ends with the stupid flags.
I love it.
It's the worst thing in all of Star Wars.
I love all the sound effects when each little space creature dies.
I would literally rather watch Anakin talk about sand for 2.5 hours than watch the pod race.
That's saying something.
All right, let's get to the next one. If my computer will let me. Here we go.
Hey, Mary and Blake. This is Molly reviewing The Train.
Hi, Molly.
It was masterful. It was gorgeous. It was everything we wanted to see. It felt like a finale. They could have cut the series off at this episode, and it felt final, of course. I loved every minute of it, cried through most of it. Susan Kelechi Watson and Chris Sullivan for their humor, making it light in a few areas of the episode when it was so heavy. Also, somebody at This Is Us is listening to you guys, Mary and Blake, because they finally, second to last episode, let Annie have a place and let her have substantial lines, and that sweet speech about being small and quiet, and that's okay as long as you're not afraid to be loud. I loved that. I also loved Randall and Kevin thumbing through their memories at Rebecca's bedside and trying to piece together what different things. Didn't Kate get her appendix taken out at Thanksgiving? No, I bought a globe. It was so real, and I loved that. It made it feel really grounded, so I enjoyed that piece. The caboose. The only issue I have with the caboose is the ending. and I think I'm going to get cut off, so I'm going to record a second.
Everyone's got 2 today, so who cares?
Where's she from? I'm thinking she's from Southern Midwest.
All right, give me a state.
Can be real. That area of the
Oklahoma?
world? No, like more southern. Not Oklahoma.
Oklahoma's pretty southern.
I don't know. She's got some like a little bit of southern, but a little Midwestern.
How about northern Texas?
But not too southern. No, she doesn't sound Texas. That's like cowboy sound.
Hold on, let's bring up a map of the U.S.
Okay, I'm gonna pick a state. What's her name? Emily?
No, it's Molly.
Okay, Molly. Molly, I'm gonna think that you are from.
I'm gonna go. You know what? Hold on. I'll bring it right here. Hold on. There it is.
I think Molly, from her voice,
I'm gonna give her
Tennessee.
That's not Southern Midwest.
What do you mean?
That's like.
Isn't Midwest
that's
like
on the east?
Isn't like Michigan? Like it's west of me. It's in the middle of the country in the western area. What? See, I think Midwest means like North Dakota to Michigan and anything below that. What do you think is Midwest?
Midwest is like Oklahoma, New Mexico, Kansas, Colorado.
That's Wicked West.
No, that's Midwest.
Okay, that's West, and then Wicked West is California.
No, Wicked West. Okay, yeah, okay. Fine.
So we got Wicked West with Arizona, Nevada, California.
Yes.
We got West, like Wild Wild West. Is like, Wild Wild West. That is like what I'm talking about. Texas and Oklahoma, and that's like Wild Wild West. And then you got.
All right, what would be Nebraska then? Middle America?
Nebraska's in the middle that I get lost. See, Nebraska.
Iowa?
When you get away from Texas, see, when you're a little more northern, that I would call, that's just
Middle
called
America.
Corn places. Corn. Okay? That's corn.
There be dragons.
But then you get the Minnesota,
mm-hmm.
and then
Wisconsin.
So I think she's like got a little bit of that, what I call Midwestern.
Okay. All right.
But a little more south. So I would do Missouri, Tennessee.
Okay.
That's where I think Molly's from.
All
Missouri or Tennessee.
All right. Fair enough.
Like Molly probably has to drive more than 5 minutes to get to Target.
Oh, she's got to drive at least an hour to get to Target.
Not an hour, Blake. Come on. Nobody has to drive an hour to get to Target. I know you all do. I know you're listening. You're like, I know, Mary. But okay,
if she's in Missouri, she's going to drive over an hour to get to Target.
Not everywhere in Missouri. Missouri has cities.
Yeah.
Yes, Blake. Just because Texas has a ranch the size of our state.
Give me the biggest city in all of Missouri. Can you even say
St. Louis?
Oh, yeah, you can. All right.
Okay. Continue with Molly, who I've envisioned is from Missouri or Tennessee.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so my last little bit. I did love this episode. It was a 5++. My only wish was that the caboose was different because there was no mention of Kyle in the entire episode. And I feel like that would have been beautiful to see Jack in the caboose when she walked through the door holding Kyle. And that would have just put everything together. I think her lost newborn baby was the missing piece of the entire episode. I know the writers had to have been debating whether or not to include him, and I don't know why they didn't. I wonder with this last episode if there will be any inclusion of him. But overall, it was phenomenal. It was many tears were shed, and I loved it. Love you guys, Mary and Blake. Y'all take care. Bye.
Oh, thank you, y'all.
Yeah, we got a y'all out of that.
We got a y'all. I'm telling you, she's somewhere around.
I'm telling you, she's in Oklahoma.
I would northern Oklahoma if we go there. Okay, closer to Missouri. Not Texas, Oklahoma.
Yeah, because we got
the y'all. Let's go. Let's keep.
All right,
this is what happens if you don't tell us where you're from.
We're just going to guess.
You better watch out,
Mary.
She's like from Alaska. Watch her.
I know. We did mention the fact that Kyle was mentioned. Obviously,
Dr. K, you lost a child.
However, Jack holding Kyle, would that have been an acceptable way to represent Kyle for you?
So, very interesting. And I will be interested to hear from listeners who have lost a child, as during pregnancy or birth. How they would feel in that train. Because I think with each person, their own story and their own losses are individualized.
Sure.
So for me, the impact that we got to see visually on screen through Rebecca about Kyle's impact and how much she thinks about him every day is not that big. To me,
Agreed.
Rebecca was had her moments, of course, as do all people who are mourning a loss of a child that is new, that they carried to full term, that they lost after. But I particularly think that after Jack's death, Rebecca tried to live as much in the present and focusing on the children who she had on the planet, and that those children had a significant impact. Not to say she doesn't see Kyle on the other side. It's not that like it fades to black and you never see Kyle. I think this is just the beginning.
All right, fair enough. Let's get to the next one.
Hi, Blake and Mary. This is Danielle. I'm calling from New Jersey. Gotta say, I love the podcast. I'm the only one in my friend group that watches the show. So when I listen to you guys discuss it, it makes me feel like, someone else validates how I feel about the show every week. For this episode, The Train, I'm going to give it a 5+. This, for me, is my highest rated episode and the best episode of the series so far. I really loved it. Waterworks, the entire thing. So for my GBG for this episode, I really don't have any bads. I think I have a lot of greats. My number one, I think, was when when I gave her speech. Not only was it just, tears and like all the emotions, it was just Beth telling Rebecca how, she was trying to emulate her. Just amazing. My second great is when Toby, my man Toby, love him still, even though I love Philip. Toby, always with the comedic relief, asking Rebecca, does she love him more than Philip? And my other great was just, honestly, the whole episode. Like, there's so many greats, I don't have enough time to say them all. And I also do have one little bad, and is that my man Miguel, my boy Miguel, I've loved him from the beginning, got the shaft even in death. Overall, that was a great episode. Love you guys, and I hope you guys are doing well. And
Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate that. Have you changed your mind on Miguel at all?
No,
I don't. I haven't either. I think it was okay. I think it was okay what they did for.
We know who the old lady in Titanic thinks about.
That's true. Good point. All right, let's get the next one.
Hi, Mary and Blake. I'm sure you both feel the same way, but this episode, The Train, was a 5+. Oh my God. I have to say, I really don't have any bads, but those little details on that train, from the little red boots that were behind Miguel to the lemons on the counter, the way the doctor was using that yellow handkerchief or whatever towel that was on Jack's junk in the first episode, to the painting that young Rebecca was staring at. Everything was so magnificent. I needed all the Charmin. And I love the speech that William gives to Rebecca at the end. I feel like I will truly be thinking about that speech for the rest of my life, about perspective and endings. And I think it was just the most beautiful way to depict the end of life and the end of the show. My only critique is I'm so happy that Deja ended up with Malik, but I wish we could have seen more of the Pearson daughters at the end of the series and who they go on to be in their future selves and their connection with Rebecca, because that part with Annie was so cute, but I would have wanted more of that. But love you guys so much. I'm curious to hear what you think of the hashtag who are they, but I think it worked, but could have
with Deja having the time with Malik, I'm okay with it because it's the next generation. We get life, new life, as Randall says that, and William kind of touches upon it. So I'm okay with all the time that we spent with Deja and Malik. And
I
Tess,
agree.
we spent a lot of we had all that flash forward time with Tess.
Yeah, and even then, I'm not. Let's just be honest. I'm not watching This Is Us for Tess, Peggy, and Deja. I'm just not. And maybe some people are. That's fine.
Her name's Annie.
Annie, whatever. And I'm not watching it for, technically I'm not watching it for Jack. I'm not watching it for the other
Haley.
Yeah. See, I can't even remember her name.
Frankie.
I'm not watching for any of them.
Nikki.
Franny, Nikki, Franny, Nick, Frank, whatever. You got 15 million kids. They all got the same name.
You would be one of those grandparents that just gives them all $5 because you don't know all their names.
Yep, exactly. Just, you know what I would do? I would just have envelopes. I would put the $5 in the envelope, and I would just pass them out. I wouldn't even put the names on it.
Merry Christmas.
Hey,
love
Merry
you.
Christmas.
You're my favorite. You're my favorite.
You're my favorite. You're my favorite. You're my favorite. I love you.
Oh my God, we are so different.
Oh, man. Here we go.
Hi, Mary and Blake. It's your cousin from Boston.
All right.
This episode of
Your
This Is Us
cousin
deserves
from
all the
Boston.
letters. 5++++ infinity. There were no bads in this one for me. My girl Beth, the whole time, from her tearful goodbye to Rebecca with, "It's okay, I got him now," to her telling Randall, "I knew she was pregnant before she did. I'm that girl's mother." Oh my God, so funny. I do wish we had seen Deja and Tess tell Rebecca any of their news. You know, Deja could tell her she was pregnant and to thank her for a wonderful father, and Tess could have gone in there and told her grandma that maybe her and her girlfriend in the future wanted to adopt kids because of her. That would have been sweet. I loved William's warm and calming presence as her guide, and he touched her life in a huge way. Definitely. But I do think Dr. K would have made a more perfect guide. He was there when the triplets were born. Oh my God, by the way, I thought we were going to see Rebecca reunite with baby Kyle. Initially, I was holding my breath there for a bit. Oh my God, I was nervous. Anyway, Dr. K saved Rebecca's life, which enabled her to have her amazing life. He saw the big three as toddlers and helped them. He was there at Jack's wake and talking to her outside, remember? Dr. K would have made a much better choice, in my opinion. I think this is going to go on to a second one. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's all right, Gloria. We got you.
Hi, guys. Me again. I will definitely wrap this up. Don't you worry. My great was the way that they did the whole train thing, making it her memories as she went along towards the caboose, saying she was waiting for someone. I thought it was Jack at first, but realized it was really Kate. She was holding on for her daughter. All the shaman, sweet baby Jesus, all the tears. Oh my God. I cried throughout this whole episode. It did bring back a lot of memories when my mom was dying and one of my brothers and I were with her. It was spectacular television. That's it. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Gloria.
You know what I was thinking about?
What?
So where do we finally see Kate when we're like on the train? We got no Kate. Where do we see Kate?
On a plane?
Where do we see Kate in Rebecca's train?
Holding bugs?
Where?
In one of the trailers? I have no idea. What are you getting at?
She's in the caboose next to Rebecca's bed. Because that's what you know.
Oh, okay.
Kate's always waking her up in the middle of the night.
Good point. Good point.
I was like, that's authentic. You think you're going to go to sleep? Think again.
Nice try. You still got responsibilities.
Still got a 5-year-old.
In or out on the idea that Dr. K would have been a better guide than William?
I'm more of a William person myself. So I like that. I liked him.
I'm a big Dr. K fan, but I don't think him being the guide was the right choice.
I think William
was the right choice.
He has so much depth because of all the stuff he's been through.
Yes.
That I think he is great for perspective.
Right. And I think and Mary, you said something last episode that was very smart, which is an equal, right? Dr. K is more of a father figure, but William is the person that she had a complicated relationship with, but he was able to guide her as an equal through her transition and show the warmth that the relationship ultimately, came through to, like, I don't know. I think William was the right choice.
Hi, Mary and Blake. This is Julie from Connecticut.
Hi, Julie.
Blake,
Hi, Julie.
I will see what we can do about changing the state motto to Connecticut. the state that so does not suck. Mary, I hope and pray that your long COVID trial heals you once and for all.
Thank you.
I'm actually just getting over COVID myself, and I can't tell you how many times I thought of you this week. Okay, this will likely be a 2-message because
we're breaking all the rules.
Is just a masterpiece of an episode. I'm in awe of how these remarkable writers so masterfully wove together 6 years of episodes with complex timelines, symbolism galore, and so many poignant full circle memories. Talk about a tall order. I can barely contain it to lemonades and GBGs. I love how Rebecca chose William, the poet and philosopher, to usher her from car to car and memory to memory on the train of her life.
Can you push pause for a second?
Was it just me, or did Rebecca seem to...
I gotta tell you, this caller has such a beautiful voice.
Julie. Bringing it.
And I would have guessed New York or Connecticut.
Really?
Yes. Because she has the voice of Queenie from the Fantastic Beasts series.
Oh,
press play.
Here we go.
You're a wizard,
She's got and so I wonder if she had relatives that have stayed in the New York, Connecticut area.
Gotcha. Okay, here we go. All right, so now when Julie's talking,
think of Queenie from Fantastic Beasts.
If you haven't seen Fantastic Beasts, trust me, you're not missing much. Here we go.
Grow more and more radiant as she got closer and closer to the end.
Totally Queenie.
All of those magical, meaningful, full circle moments, some even accompanied by Joni Mitchell's Circle Game song. Beth reading the Little Red Caboose book on the train when Rebecca had struggled to remember that word, caboose, several episodes ago. And then, of course, it's the last car on the train of her life. Deja and Malik came full circle, and then new life growing in Deja as Rebecca's life is coming to an end. Okay, I'll go do one more message. Hi, it's Julie again. I'm back. Okay, and then there's Jack, being consummate Jack, on the very last night of his life, when he apparently passes on his lemonade lesson to Marcus's father, which becomes the Brooks family get through the dark moments theme. So Marcus persists and ultimately discovers a treatment for Alzheimer's. I mean, full circle and then some. I love Rebecca's baby doctor at the bar, cleaning glasses with that yellow towel that had discreetly covered Jack in the first episode. And then the Steelers game on TV, the best dad. I mean, all these images we're seeing of Rebecca's meaningful memories, and also the little things that she was so afraid she'd forget. It did seem like Miguel sort of got an honorable mention, but, Rebecca really lit up when she saw him, and he said, after all this time, you're still my favorite person. This whole season was challenging because my beautiful, magical mom also had this horrible disease. We were there at the end praying she could hear and know and feel our words of love, so to hear Rebecca's children's voices come over the speakers. And then there's that final scene after Randall says to say hey. Rebecca lies in the bed, she turns to see Jack. She says hey, he says hey, and I am toast. It was Cue the Waterfalls beautiful. This episode was almost a movie unto itself. I'm just thankful to have it to share with you guys.
Thank you, Julie. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Julie.
And all right, I just want to call this out.
I'm sorry that you had to go through such a long illness for your mom.
That is brutal stuff. No, thank you. So I'm very... my heart goes out with you, out to you, because that's tough stuff. But I do want to bring this up, which is the yellow towel. It's not just a towel that Jack...
Isn't it the terrible towel?
It's the terrible towel, which is something that Steelers fans use.
So do people not know that if they're not from the East?
I don't know. I feel like if you're a football fan, you know what the terrible towel is. And what they do is all the fans, they bring this yellow towel and it says terrible towel on it. And when they go to the game, they wave the towel. Yes. And that's the thing. So it's not just some random towel that Jack uses to cover himself. It's a Pittsburgh thing. So
it's like the equivalent of the gross, dirty old Red Sox hat.
Yes,
If
absolutely.
you're a Pittsburgh football fan, you've got one of those.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So here we go.
Hi, Mary and Blake. It's Mandy here from Australia.
Hey, Mandy.
Oh, my gosh. What an amazing episode. I'm going to be quick because you're going to have so many messages, but I loved every minute of it. I will love whatever they make, whatever they do. I love it. But what I really wished had happened was that when Rebecca saw Jack, I wished that he was holding their baby. And I was wishing the whole episode she's going to go into that caboose and she's going to see Jack and he's going to have that little baby boy. And so that was just I just wished I had have done it. Other than that, I sobbed and sobbed and sobbed, and I loved it. And bring on the last episode. But thank you for all of your work, all your podcasts. It's been hard here in Australia. We've been like 5 weeks behind until someone gave it to me illegally. Yeah. And I've been just catching up like a frantic fan. So thank you. It's been wonderful to be in the same time as you guys. So thanks for all your amazing work. Bye.
Thank you, Mandy.
Look at you being a pirate.
All right, I'll take that.
I am. Oops. Hello? Mandy.
She didn't hang up.
She didn't. She wants to stay on the line. I'm finding it very, very interesting how many people are calling in missing Kyle.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I think, here's what I'll say. If Jack was holding Kyle, I would not have been upset.
Agreed.
But I'm happier that he's not, because that moment is just about Jack and Rebecca. You know, like
But would you have wanted Kyle somewhere on the train previously?
No. If it's going to be anywhere, it's going to be Jack holding Kyle. That's it.
I think everything else made you feel okay or good. Like it was a bittersweet sad. And I think seeing Kyle on the train, say with Dr. K or whatever, it would have made me feel bad. I know everyone's journey. Like I'm wondering the people calling in, like how many of them have had a loss themselves and do think about, I mean, that's something that I think about frequently. Like this is how old this baby would have been. And this is the milestone that this baby would be going through right now. And who would that person have been had they been able to be here on earth with us? But I think for me, speaking, had I seen a baby, I would not have felt good.
Yeah.
I would have felt like, I don't know how it would have made me feel good. And I feel like I wanted to be feeling good on that train.
Right. And I think, the only way that it's acceptable to me is if Jack is holding the baby.
Yes.
That to me is bittersweet.
Yes.
And I can take that. But then again, I want that moment to be about Rebecca and Jack. And there's that famous line that she says in one of the episodes where it's like, I just wonder what my last memory will be before the light goes out. And
it's laying down next to him.
It's laying down next to Jack.
Because I don't think she would have been able, had she seen Kyle earlier in the train, no mom's going to leave it. She would have picked that baby up and just taken it with her. But then she'd be carrying a baby the whole time. She's not going to lose Kyle again.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, on paper, it sounds like a great idea. But, like, practically and visually, that would be a hard thing to pull off.
Yes.
And the way that the train operates is it's like one giant memory. Like, so, and it's a great riff on that idea. Like, what's going to be the last thing that I remember? And it's not just one thing. It's all of the things all at once. It's how she experiences her transition. It's reliving all of her memories, all folded over each other over time that she deems the most important to herself. So, you know, there's no like, oh, they go in one car and they're all young kids and then they grow up and then they're the teenagers and then they're the grown-ups. It's like grown-ups interacting with young kids and William interacting with Dr. K and Kate being a 5-year-old in the caboose with the bugs, and then Jack, and it's like Inception or Doctor Strange in the multiverse. Like all these things just overlapping over themselves, and it's one giant memory. And I find that a really, really cool riff on what Rebecca was trying to get at.
Hi, Mary and Blake. This is Andrea from Pepperell, Mass., originally from Somerville, Mass. Longtime listener, first-time caller.
Yay!
Hold on, she's got two.
Your cousin from Boston.
And she's got... There we go. Let's go.
I give this episode a solid 5 lemonades. I loved the first few seasons of This Is Us, but struggled the last few. I love Jack and Rebecca and their love story, but however, I hate Kevin and Kate. I think they're awful people. They were jerks before Jack died, and they took way too long to come around and appreciate their mom. I've never been convinced of the show's attempts to show them right their ships. Randall's great, but always takes a beating for it, especially from Kevin. Believe it or not, my great is the Who Are They family. They were perfect how they tied in the lemonade slogan and bring home the adage of how on your worst day, you never know who you're impacting. I think it's the message of the show. And Blake, sharing your struggles is an example of that as well. My good is a tie. One is having William there as Kate's escort. Their relationship is so complicated. The minute you start blaming her for keeping him from Randall, you pull back and think, wait, he was a drug addict that dropped him off at the fire station. What was she to do? This is such a whack-a-mole situation. That was such a great part of the show. My other good is best scene, channeling her inner Rebecca Pearson. This hits home with me because my adult son is always saying he's channeling his inner dad when he needs to sound like he knows what he's doing. And it was such a sweet sentiment. My bad is a line about Kate showcasing her curriculum in England. I've always struggled to buy into Kate having any credentials for the job that she has at the music school. They barely show her doing anything to earn the level of education to do what she's doing as a teacher, and it irritates me. Andrea, again, I just want to also say, I feel like this show did Toby dirty, and someone on the writing staff is definitely acknowledging that with the should we get back together and I can buy my own food comments. They're definitely trolling the idea that Toby got a bad rap. And everyone aged but Sophie. The airline could have dropped her bag off at the house like it was lost yesterday, and I would have believed it. And lastly, the caboose. She couldn't remember the word, and in the end, it was her final resting place. So this is us. Thank you, guys, and I love what you do. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you. I'm sorry you hate Kate and Kevin.
I think it's a fair statement. Do I agree? No, but I think it's fair. I think it's an arguable statement.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, sure. And I think there's also something to be argued too, that the show was at its peak the first 2 seasons. And then it kind of struggled a little bit to find its way again in seasons 3 and 4. And then season 5 and 6 it picked up again. So I think it's fair to argue that, but the show, I think, was also at its best when it's in these moments of what Andrea brought up, which is like, what is Rebecca to do concerning William? Like, he was a drug addict, and like that life was a mess, and it's this. She said a whack-a-mole situation, and she's right. It's like this gray area where you think you're doing the right choice, but are you? And there's no clear right, there's no clear wrong. It is what it is, and that gray area is what makes that show work so well, right?
Mm-hmm,
do you think?
Oh yeah, because you question your choices. You think, would I have made the same decision or a different decision? I agree. I think that This Is Us challenges us.
So another question I have for you, Mary, is did the show we talked about the show doing Miggy dirty? Has the show done Toby dirty?
Interesting. I think, in my opinion, the show has allowed us to each have our own feelings about Toby without it being spoon-fed to us. I feel like many times, we are spoon-fed. You're going to love this person. You're going to love Miggy, all this stuff. But with Toby, we're allowed to draw our own conclusions. And based upon your preferences for humor or for the way that he communicates and your own relationship history, you draw your own conclusion with Toby. I mean, there were people, when Kate and Toby were good, there were people who were never on the Miggy train.
Yeah.
By the way, do I just love how we were saying like, not Miggy train, Toby train. Like, I love how we've used that, people use that phrase. Like,
I know, right?
Toby train. So there have been people who've never liked him.
Yeah.
And there have been people who still like him. So I think that Toby is something that we get to make our own personal choice about, and I like that.
I will say that my sense of the Toby situation is, I think for the course that they set, I think they did a pretty good job laying the foundation for it. I think it came barreling toward the end because it needed to. But my other sense is, well, the show wanted to talk about divorce, so it had to pick somebody. And it picked Toby and Kate. And I don't know.
I mean, Kevin and Sophie also got divorced.
Yeah, but they didn't
we didn't
show
see the divorce.
Yeah, they wanted to show the process, the depiction of like how things crumble, and it was all. It almost feels like the show had a box to check, where it's like, okay, we're doing the Alzheimer's thing, we've done the blind kid thing, we've done the death thing, where we've done the adoption thing, we've done the drug addict thing. Now we need to do the divorce thing. Do you see what I'm saying?
I mean, in my opinion, divorces happen more frequently than many of the things that they cover.
Well, yeah,
so
sure.
it would have been crazy not to cover divorce.
Fair.
And if they had to pick which of these families will go through divorce, I think statistically and understandably to the audience, the family that goes through a lot of struggles, particularly having
disability. Yeah.
So I don't feel like there was a box to check. This show is about mimicking a lot of things that we go through in our own lives, and a lot of people get divorced.
Yep.
Hi, this is Isabella from Brazil. I'm calling about the train for This Is Us. I think this was one of those episodes in TV history that was pretty special, you know, kind of like the lost finale of, or some of the episodes of Leftovers. It actually reminded me a little bit of some things of the last finale. Pretty great. I think my good was actually William being the guide. I've seen somewhere people saying that it should have been Dr. K, but you know what? William is perfect for the show and for Rebecca because he was kind of like her biggest regret in a way. And he was the first big death that we saw on the show in season 1. It was a beautiful episode written by Dan Fogelman, so I think it was perfect. I think my great were all of the train parts. I think this part was pretty beautiful. And my best was that Dan Fogelman did the twist he did in the first episode, and I didn't see it coming. It was pretty surprising. And, you know, I had a little list of things that I thought would happen, and you know, this really surprised me. So I'm really happy about this whole episode.
Oh, well, thank you, Isabella. Yeah, I'm happy about it too. Would you consider, Mary, the Marcus thing a twist or just like an offshoot? I don't know, like a diversion.
I will flip that around, and I will say it is one of the many tree roots that we lay down in the This Is Us.
Oh, Mary!
Just like that, a winner.
And as secluded as we have been to just being with the Pearsons, to be able to see the impact that you can make on other people.
Sure.
Hi, Mary and Blake. It's Brittany from PA.
Hi, Brittany.
I have not been more grateful to live 3 blocks away from a toilet paper factory since spring of 2020. I need all the Charmin. This episode gets a 5+. My good is the hashtag who are theys. Leave it to the writers to throw them in down to the wire. But I feel like this family was a stand-in for the audience because in one moment, Jack impacted this family significantly. It gave them this motto, and the Pearsons did that for all of us. And I thought that was really beautiful. My great, the entire train concept, the visual was really good for TV. I think a lot of times in TV, death is either shocking or we're really focused on the people it impacts and not necessarily the person who's dying. It's not an easy thing to show. And I think the last show that did that really well was probably 6 Feet Under. So obviously the minute I saw William, I lost it. Dr. K lost it again. I don't think I ever stopped losing it after that. I just seeing the big 3 as young, teen, and old was really beautiful. I just thought Mandy Moore just walking through that train was beautiful. I'm going to need another voicemail. Sorry. I'll be back. Hi, Mary and Blake, Brittany from PA again. Sorry, I guess I have a lot to say this week.
That's okay. You go ahead.
Mandy Moore, just her whole performance in that train was beautiful. Her facial expressions, she never disappoints. My best was Beth and Annie and their goodbyes. I mean, the whole family gathering, the joy, the sadness felt very real to me. But just last week, so many of us were talking about how we really hope to be a mom like Rebecca one day. And Beth wanted the same thing. And her reassuring Rebecca that she's got Randall, he's good, she'll take care of him, was just very touching. But Annie, we got Annie in such a beautiful way. And just this is such a loud, boisterous family. And Annie always felt seen by Rebecca because Rebecca was just so good. She was an amazing mother and an amazing grandmother, and Annie doesn't feel left out because of Rebecca. And I thought that was really beautiful. And we got to see our girl Peggy. I'm just so sad this is ending, but I'm so grateful for you both for continuing to do this show. And I love you all.
Oh, thank you. Well, we're grateful for you and everybody else that's been calling in, obviously, because without you folks, there's no podcast.
It's just Blake and I talking to each other, but with a microphone.
And
Blake is very happy that we have a podcast because basically the conversations we have during these podcasts were happening before we started podcasting.
100%.
Generally me bringing them up in bed 10:30 at night.
When I'm trying to get to sleep to go to the donut shop at 4 a.m.
Who do you think's going to be on your train when you die? You know that us podcasting has brought down my 10:30 p.m.
Oh, I know.
Conversations.
You know what? There. You may have found my ulterior motive here, Mary. I will say this: if it wasn't for all of you, there'd be no podcast. And Mary loves me, but not enough to listen to me rant on and on and on and on about these shows.
You fall asleep.
That's true. Brittany brings up two things here, Mary, that I really like, and that is the Who Are They family serving as a stand-in for us as the audience members. Are you buying that? Do you co-sign?
Yeah.
I kind of co-sign too.
Yeah.
And I really love that idea. Whether or not that was intentional, I'm not sure, but the fact of the matter is, I think it's applicable.
This show has made an impact on us.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
For Blake and I, where we are in our phase of life, we frequently have to think, what would the Pearsons do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think about what would Jack do almost every day.
And I think about how Rebecca, being this like perfect mom on the outside, had a lot of crap inside.
Mm-hmm.
I brought up the grocery store and the cabin freak out for a reason. Like, we get to see this woman who looks perfect, has makeup on when she goes to sleep, can juggle 3 twins, all this kind of stuff, but goes through significant trauma. Yeah, you know what I mean. But goes through significant traumas, and even just before Jack is dead, before all this stuff happens, we get to see her have very vulnerable moments. And for me as a mom, it has allowed me to say, that's normal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I am very thankful for the show because, as you said, Mary, it's given us a chance to normalize the things that we're thinking. And I always, well, not always, but now I go back to that point where Kevin was like talking to the guy in the hospital and thinking, do you ever just feel like you're in a movie and you're trying to play a part and it's hard and you want to do the right thing, but you have to work? Like, I always think about that. And then to see that, it's remarkable.
Yes.
I just never thought anybody else felt like that except me. But obviously somebody does. And
a lot of us do.
Yeah. So, and the other thing, too, that Brittany brings up is Mandy Moore's performance.
I mean, all the snaps.
So many snaps. You know what? I'm just going to do it right here.
If she does not win an award and all of those darn people in that auditorium do not stand up and praise this young woman for doing what she was able to do.
All the different ages and all the different things that she had to accomplish, whether it's being like the Alzheimer's, person or the haggard mom or pound of ham or
because she was still able. I mean, it's going to be beautiful when we do go back and revisit this show. When you do go do a rewatch, and obviously Mandy Moore puts a lot of her own little quirks, facial quirks and things into it. But the way that she kind of brings that and adjusts them slightly. Adjusts her stride, adjusts how she holds her body, as she gets older. And to keep in mind that this was, usually in television when someone ages, they're recording that whole season as that as that specific age.
Sure.
So it's like, all right, I know how to do this. Mandy Moore had to keep jumping. Okay, today we're shooting 30s Rebecca. And tomorrow, in a couple of days,
we're doing Alzheimer's Rebecca.
Yes. In a couple of days,
we're doing Alzheimer's Rebecca.
Yes. And you need to know, okay, what are my little movements that I have to do? What is her mouth? How does her mouth still have the same Rebecca flair, but the muscles will be moving differently?
Yep.
And I loved seeing older Rebecca run in the Saturday at the Park episode.
Right, because it wasn't mid-30s, early 40s Mandy Moore, the way that we know she can run.
The young Rebecca run.
Yeah.
It was a much older, 60s, 70s Rebecca run, yet it was still her. But, it's just all these little things that she's had to do for such an extended period of time, and it has stayed consistent
100%
while she's flipping back and forth in each characters. I think it's downright outstanding to the max.
Yep, and taking it back to this episode, Mary, the thing that I noticed about Mandy Moore is that she uses this almost bewildered, overwhelmed look that she has. Like when she's talking to Dr. K or she's talking to William, it's almost as if she was unaware. And then as all of these things start happening to her, like when she...
I see it as like a daydream look.
Yes.
Like the wide eyes.
Yes, 100%.
Where am I? Is this a dream?
Right. And the way that I interpreted it when I first saw her walk up to the bar was she didn't know who Dr. K was. And then she sat down, he started talking, and then she said, oh, wait, I think I remember this guy. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yes, but that's a look that only younger Rebecca does. Young Rebecca would do that when Jack would surprise her.
Yes.
When she was in awe of something. So exactly, that's what I'm talking about, is that this actress has these little things, particularly that she's done with her face all along. And so the train version of Rebecca, 30s Rebecca, had the same wide-eyed surprise. Is this real life?
Yeah.
This is beautiful. Joyful surprise. Turning, how did this happen?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we've seen that when Jack would do these beautiful little romantic gestures.
Yeah, when they go to the old apartment. And,
yes.
The whole thing. Yep.
Or little moments when the kids would surprise her by something.
Yep, 100%.
Hello, Mary and Blake. This is April calling from Virginia.
Hi, April.
Calling about the second to last episode of This Is Us. I probably will have to go into a second one just because there's so much to say about
We're breaking all the rules today.
We're not judging.
I give it a 5+. What a beautifully well told episode. I just loved every minute of it. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to watch it with saying goodbye to Rebecca, but this episode just did such a beautiful job. I absolutely loved the train theme and how it brought back people, showed her as a journey, and it brought back people who had such a significant impact on her life, such as the doctor who, saved her and delivered her babies, William coming back being her escort, and just seeing so many people who were important and impacted Rebecca's life. I think the other things I just loved, I work in healthcare and worked with cancer patients, and it's so truthful. They always talk about hearing being your last sense, and that patients being able to hear you before you die, and also patients being holding on until certain loved ones come in. But I'm definitely going to get cut off. So
that was great hearing that in real time. All right, hold on.
This is April calling again, just talking about how patients lose their last sense they lose is hearing. Everyone tells you that they can hear you before they pass away. And the fact that that Rebecca held on until Kate has been there. I personally have witnessed that in the healthcare field and watched patients hold on until their loved ones make it to see them and don't go until their loved ones have told them it's okay to go. It was just a beautiful episode and just really loved it. I loved seeing the family reconnect and share happy memories about Rebecca and laughing and having joy even in this sad moment. The only thing I didn't appreciate was this random who are they Marcus kid. Maybe he'll have an impact in the next episode. Obviously, Jack had an impact on their father during their difficult time in the hospital with his lemon story or lemon motto. But we'll see what happens with that. But also with, it was good to see that that Deja and Malik got back together and are going to start a family, and that Randall and Beth could have that happy moment in this sad time. So really great episode. Love to hear your thoughts. Hope everyone is well.
Yeah, the Deja and Malik thing finally paid off a little bit in this episode. With her being pregnant and it being Malik as the father. And I'm happy that the writers were able to do that and give us, because we had such a hard time, not a hard time, but we had such a,
I think it still served its purpose, but I'm happy that one of the daughter's storylines has a bit more future brought into it through this season. We got to see Tess's career, which is a future storyline, which I loved. I think that, Randall's family showed us how challenging it is to have a family with teenagers. Because I got to tell you, I am so freaked out. I've got so many people who have a teenager, but then they have a child, our eldest's age, and they're like, "You ain't seen nothing yet. You're upset because your kid wakes up in the middle of the night and goes and eats an apple. Guess what? What about when he goes in the middle of the night to go have sex or do drugs?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, shut up. He can eat as many apples as he wants. I don't care." But it's a real thing, and it's a real huge challenge. A lot of parents think that it's the most stressful time of parenting. You think newborn phase is bad, potty training. And so I loved that we were able to see this with the modern day challenge of parents who didn't grow up in a time where youth were out as much as they were, where youth were questioning their identities as much as they are right now in regards to gender identities and sexual preferences. And so those conversations didn't necessarily happen for the Gen X and Zennials. We all maybe had our one gay friend, you know what I mean? It was my so-called life kind of spin to it, and then we moved on to, kind of being, it was that kind of a social situation.
Our experience was Queer Eye for the straight guy.
No, but not growing up is what I'm saying.
That's true. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Growing up, it was very, very different. So I like that. I like that they have these relatable moments. So it's not, I don't feel like I needed more of Tess's story. I think that when we look back on this show, I'm going to sit there and say, what was their story? And what was their lasting story that it left with me to make me feel seen and acknowledged, or to make me see a peer in that way. And so the Pearson family story for me that connected was, not Randall, but for me, it was the challenges of families raising teenagers.
Okay.
And having to, as those teenagers become those young adults and have their own agendas and priorities and speak their minds, and how those conversations have to happen. Yeah. When, yes, you are their mother. Because the dance thing with Beth didn't click with me, didn't resonate with me that much.
Nope, I agree.
But to me, Beth's story, the impact that it made on me was her relationship with these daughters and Randall's relationship with Deja. You got the adoption situation between Randall and Deja. But for me, those girls' stories was this. And I like that, as scary as it is to think about your teenager going off having sex, lying, you're their first love, because that is very overwhelming for a parent.
Sure.
That sometimes it does work out.
Yep, I agree.
Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does.
So you said something that was that's the story that you take from This Is Us? That's the...
Per character.
Okay, so that kind of brings me to... And I think it's appropriate to have this discussion because this episode closes out, I think, the mythology of the Pearsons, and I think it brings the series not full circle, but it closes the series out.
Okay.
What, when you think of This Is Us, is the one, like, if you could take a theme or if you could take something out of This Is Us that it explores, what would it be for you? Because I can tell you mine. Maybe that will help you if you'd like.
Sure.
Mine is, obviously, I liken it back to Jack, and because, for obvious reasons. But my thing about it is, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, it gave me permission, but also the power to say, I have my own family.
Mm-hmm.
I have my own thing. And that's okay. In fact, that's really great.
Mm.
And I have some stuff in my past that I'm not proud of, that hurt me, but I have a future, and my future is my bride. And I can create whatever I want with my bride for my little family that I've made.
Mm.
And it's okay to keep that as my own, as opposed to having to share it with everybody else or worry about anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it gave me, you know, a different perspective about being a dad and what does that mean, and even being a good husband. Like, what does that mean? So that's what I take from This Is Us.
Awesome.
So how about you?
For me, overall, because as I said, for me, each character had a storyline that is going to stick with me.
Sure.
So
I guess my question is,
overall, where I am currently in life, because I think it might change depending upon where you are in life right now.
That makes sense.
What sticks out to you,
yeah,
what phase of life you are, and what you connect with. But for me, the Beth's final goodbye when she's thanking Rebecca for Randall, you know, this beautiful, complex, you know, blah 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 person, or Kevin's painting. That you can have a truly beautiful family and a truly beautiful relationship, but that doesn't mean that everything is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And that there are hard things. There are sad days. There are days when you feel like you're losing your mind. There are massive life challenges, but that doesn't mean that your life is bad and that your family is bad.
Gotcha.
And that it's going to be a season. You know, all these people have gone through significantly difficult things. Some have had minor breakdowns. Some have had major breakdowns. I think about Randall with his severe anxiety attacks where he's just crippled and Kevin has to like help him out of it. And yet here's Randall Pearson who's going to be running for president.
Good
so when
point.
you are in a dark, you know, I suffer from anxiety and overwhelm. And, you know, to sit here and when you're in those moments, when you're in those panic attacks, or when you're in a dark, depressive season, you can't see out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you just think like, okay, this is who I am now. And it's not. It's just a portion of this beautiful, complex life that you have. There are very, very happy, beautiful moments that you're going to be able to look back on.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Mary and Blake. This is Morgan back with part 2. I was saying that...
Looks like I messed that up. Hold on. I did mess that up.
This is April calling again.
I didn't mess that up. Morgan, I apparently didn't get your first voice message because I don't know where it is. So we're just going to go with part 2.
Hi, Mary and Blake. This is Morgan back with part 2. I was saying that my great was the theme of new life versus old life and the whole stuff with Marcus and Jack in the hospital. I do love that This Is Us kind of brought everything full circle, whether it was Jack giving Marcus's dad the lemonade advice and the entire scene with Marcus coding and Jack being fine. And then they literally switch places where Marcus pulls through and then Jack has the heart attack. And oh my gosh, This Is Us just knows how to tug on your heartstrings like no other show I've ever seen. And finally, my best was all of the train stuff with Rebecca, whether it was seeing William or Dr. K or the big 3 at all the different ages and all of the Easter eggs too. It actually reminded me a lot of the season finale of season 5 of Outlander. and all the Easter eggs that we saw in that episode. And though the main characters are both going through something completely different, I love the depiction of the dissociation and where do these characters' brains go when they're not fully present in the real world. So, and Blake, like you, I love it when shows get weird with it. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for all that you do. I know that you've both been through a lot in these past couple of years, so I just really appreciate that, you continue to put content out into the world. It truly does make a difference and it matters, and you just have no idea how much of a positive impact you guys make. So thank you again. Mary, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you both take care. Bye.
Thank you, Morgan. That, again, I know we've had this conversation. As a matter of fact, we had this conversation recently on Outlander with a caller who called in saying, like, we helped save her life, helped bring her through some really dark stuff. So when you hear
Wicked dark
down, yeah. When you hear those kind of comments, it's kind of surreal. And I learned, I don't want to name drop here, but I learned this from Damon Lindelof, which is when somebody says something like that, where it's just like, you guys are amazing and you've really helped me and yada yada, all you can do is the best thing to do is just say thank you, because I don't have anything else to say. Like, thank you. It's pretty incredible when you hear that kind of stuff.
I agree.
Makes you feel good and makes you feel like, you're actually doing something that helps people. So yeah. And we're just two dorks talking downstairs in our studio with microphones in front of our faces.
Hi, I'm Efreen from London.
Hi, Efreen.
Long-time listener, first-time messaging. I have listened to you guys on so many of your podcasts and the entirety of this one, but I watched this episode and was like, I gotta message in. I have so many thoughts and feelings, but the thing that I am completely overwhelmed by is the man that Jack imparted this wisdom to, and it became family legend, his son's survival, which kind of maybe came at the expense of Jack's, because obviously he was coding and the doctor went elsewhere. The fact that boy grew up to then find a cure for the disease that killed Jack's wife. Oh, my heart. It's just, this show is so fantastic in how it explores the beauty, the light and the darkness in life, and the fact that often there is an interplay there. Obviously with William's line at the end about, it was worth, if you're sad about something, it shows what that meant to you. It just was so perfect and really blew me away. The other thing that I would definitely note.
Oh, she got cut off. Hold on one sec.
It's Efreen again. The other thing that, really just was so sentimental was when Kate turned up and you see her running there and you can see the expression on her face where she's just so concerned, and then walks through and realizes that Rebecca's still alive, and the kind of relief and sadness and joy that's there in her making it in time really, really felt so sweet. And she was like, hey, it's Bug, and that's what Rebecca always called her. I know that, like Mandy Moore had said, that when she read it, it made her throw up, but it really was one of those episodes that it pulled at your heartstrings, and of course it was sad, but it also was so beautifully done. And yeah, I can't wait for the finale. I'm so sad the show is ending, but just hats off to the writers and the whole team for creating something so magical and touching. And a big thanks to you guys for being so vulnerable and open. It's been such a lovely way to also explore and engage with the themes that have been talked about on the show. So really big thanks to you guys too. And I look forward to the rest of your other podcasts.
Well, thank you, Efreen. I'm so happy that you're enjoying the show and you're enjoying the other podcasts. I just want to say this, Mary, and I think you're going to agree with me. Can I just have Efreen narrate my life?
Oh my gosh, right?
Just Efreen. Just you keep calling in. You just read the phone book and I'm happy.
Agreed. You have a beautiful voice.
It's just it's just makes me feel smart to listen to you. I don't know why, but I feel
It's
like
peaceful.
I feel like I got at least a 1260 on my SATs now.
Efreen won't know what that means.
No, she won't, but just know that it's a good thing. And I got way less than 1260 on my SATs.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I got what did I get? I got an 1150.
That's not way less.
Was it 1100 or 1150? One of the two. I don't know. But I was also one of those kids that they were like, oh, you got to do the PSATs and you got to do the studying and you got to do this. And I was like, dude, for what?
I didn't either.
I'm like, what are we doing?
This is Chris from
Oh,
Connecticut.
hold on. Sorry, Chris. I'm like, for what? What am I going to bust my balls for here? Like, I'm going to go in. Either I know this stuff or I don't. I'm not going to sit here and study the strategies and all of that. Like,
but you didn't need a scholarship. You knew that your college was going to be paid for no matter what.
Yeah, but I still wanted to go to a specific college.
I know, but
and I knew
think
that I had to get a good score to get to the college.
I wonder though. I wonder if finances were going to be the make or break if you could go to that college.
Yeah, that probably would have been.
You would have
eaten
eaten your poor people parfait, and you would have given a little bit more effort, maybe.
With my, so one of our listeners said that they reached the episode when we're talking about the water guns, and when you first
had
dropped
my first
your
water gun fight,
and you dropped your first F-bomb on the podcast.
That's a core memory right there.
That is a total core memory for you, and that Hall of Fame moment actually is one of the reasons why we created the Hall of Fame to begin with.
Do you want to know? Oh, okay. Do you still have more of that story?
What do you mean?
Are you continuing? I didn't want to.
Oh no! Go ahead. Go.
Our little lad yesterday asked me, "Mommy, why did Daddy want to marry you? He was rich and you were poor." He asked me that, and we don't talk about our upbringing and finances.
No.
But he straight up asked me that. Why would Daddy want to marry you if he was rich and you were poor?
You were one of the poors, Mary.
God. I think he thinks I look like one of the kids from, Oliver or something. Lisa. Getting my daily dose of porridge.
Wearing a potato bag for clothes.
God. Why would he want to marry you? I don't know, Reese.
Maybe because I got big boobs. That's why. Told you, I'm a boob guy.
Yeah, but it's just weird to be at this age where they're realizing economic differences.
Yeah, like there are certain classes, if you will. Yeah.
So, thankfully, I taught him a lot.
Yes,
about love.
I'm sure that you did. And the fact of the matter is, as soon as I saw you, that I knew that was it. That was the end.
Thank God for Malfoy. I got to tell you, Malfoy from Harry Potter has helped me a lot with these conversations about money doesn't buy you class.
Oh, good point.
Money doesn't buy you class. For all my Real Housewives friends out there.
Man.
All right, let's continue.
All right, here we go.
Connecticut calling about This Is Us, the train.
Oh, hold on. Did I hear Connecticut?
Yes, Blake, leave them alone.
Chris from Connecticut
Chris
calling
from
about
Connecticut.
This Is Us, the train episode. Give this episode a 4.7 lemonades.
Oh, okay.
My good is the sweet little exchange between Annie and Rebecca.
Mhm.
Annie finally got some dialogue and a moment in the spotlight, and I thought that was terrific. My bad was the encounter on the train between Rebecca and Miguel. I thought that was incredibly disrespectful to Miguel and who he was for her in her life. I've heard some theories that this was Rebecca's Alzheimer's mind memory and that she doesn't remember she's married to Miguel.
I don't buy it.
However, I reject that theory.
Thank you, Chris.
Because she knows who Toby and little Jack are on the train.
Yep.
And her marriage to Miguel predates Toby arriving on the scene.
Yep.
So if she knows who Toby is, she should remember that she was married to Miguel.
100%.
And I just thought that was terrible how they handled that.
Yep.
My great was having William be the conductor. I thought that was symbolic of forgiveness. Rebecca's one mortal sin as a character was withholding the knowledge from Randall that his biological father was alive all those years. And I just interpreted William's presence to be symbolic of forgiveness, and I thought that was beautifully done.
That's right.
Agreed.
Thank you so much. I agree.
Agreed.
I totally agree. I mean, I disagree about the Miggy thing, but I think that's a fair criticism to make. It's just now it just comes down to a point of taste, I think.
So I wanted to talk about This Is Us.
Who is this person?
Sala. I forgot to say my name.
Okay, there you go.
But the two moments that stood out to me were first was the moment with Annie talking to Rebecca. Like, Annie was such a little storyline, but they really had a great explanation as to why. Like, they incorporated her lack of a storyline into the story so well. Like, the way she said that, Rebecca made her feel seen even when she sometimes felt invisible among that huge, loud family. And it's like, I don't know, just I can't remember the exact line that Rebecca apparently said to Annie, but her little voice saying it just, it made me cry. Like, that got to me more than, any of the rest of it for some reason. And then, the moment that made me laugh, Toby. First of all, I love that, Toby's still part of the family, even though it's clear Kevin hates his guts and it's mutual. That was not a joke, and nothing can convince me otherwise. But I love that it's implied that Rebecca was still there for Toby even after the divorce. She believed in him as a dad. And, Randall called him to come. So to me, it seems like Toby is pretty good with the family. And he's at the birthday parties and stuff. So, I don't know. I liked knowing that. And I also like the little dig at Philip because I will never like him. Never, ever. Team Toby till the day I die. And I appreciate Toby telling a dying Rebecca, you like me better than Phil. And yes, I am in agreement with that, Toby. Bye, Phil. Just thought I'd try to make you laugh in this very tragic, sad episode.
Well, thank you. We did get some laughs out of that.
Yes.
And I do feel like Toby, is part of that family, and there is a reason for him being included in that finale outside of the family part, but it's just the levity part. I appreciated the joke that he had where it's like one of those awkward jokes with Kevin that kind of lands but kind of doesn't. And that's I can pay for my own thing. And it's a bad joke when you have to explain it afterwards.
Yes.
But as a writer, as a viewer, I appreciate it. I appreciate that awkwardness.
Hi, this is Kat from Philly. I
Hi,
haven't
Kat.
called in a while, but I absolutely had to comment on the penultimate episode of This Is Us because I think it has to be my favorite of the series. So stunning from start to finish, from the writing to how everything was shot. It was incredibly theatrical. Some of my favorite aspects were all the red tones on the train from Rebecca's dress to the caboose, the idea that she couldn't say caboose in the beginning of the season, and that's where she ended up, and then she didn't even have to say it, was really, really neat. I liked the idea. I realized that the only people that she was talking to in real time that she wasn't hearing over the speaker were people who had passed, which made you kind of assume that Dr. K had passed, which isn't that surprising because he was old. But that was really cool. And something I didn't pick up until the second time I watched it. I cried both times. I loved so much of this episode, but I actually suffered the loss of a friend this week, yesterday, when I watched the episode. And the end speech from William just hit me in such a big way and kind of put me at peace with my life. And it was very soothing, and I'm just so happy that I had this show. Love you guys. Love the show. Sad it's ending. Bye.
Well, thank you, Kat. I like how you got it in there right at the last second. Those ending words from William. What do you think about that, Mary?
I agree.
As a mantra, and also it being kind of meta.
Yeah, no, I'm thankful that you were able to have those words with you on a difficult day. It's something that I want to remember when I have difficult days of death that I'm dealing with, or grief. As I've said before, I haven't had anyone super close to me pass who I've known here on Earth. So I'm thankful for that insight from William, and I hope that it can give other people comfort.
Yeah, that was a really cool moment where it felt like we were with Rebecca on this train, and her having the the self-awareness to say, this is so sad.
But it also speaks on the TV show front.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, it's such a cool moment for the show to comment on its own finality and its own closing, where it's like, yeah, no, it's sad, but it's sad because it was great.
Because there's people who say, okay, I want to know what the little kids' lives are like, and I want to continue, like, even though Rebecca's not alive. There's many people who wish that the show could go on, or that there could be spin-offs, and, are very sad that this won't be part of their Tuesday night routines anymore. But I agree. You can hear William's speech in regards to the series in general.
Yeah. Kat also brings up another great point, too, the warm tones of this show. For the most part, I feel like this has been This Is Us has been a show that has lived in those warm colors for the most part. But it is certainly apparent in this episode that she is bathed in Rebecca is bathed in this really warm light this entire time. Especially in the caboose scene where the lights are dimmed and then she's with Jack and it's super close up. Absolutely very few cool tones throughout. So that's just the lighting thing that, again, you don't see it, but your brain does, and your brain's telling you this is a nice, warm, fulfilling, soothing place.
Very hygge, if I may. Or hygge. However, the Danish word, Hygge.
Yeah.
Cozy.
Sure. All right, here we go.
Hi, Mary and Blake. This is Lisa from Amsterdam, the Netherlands.
Hello.
Hey, there we go.
I'm giving this episode, The Train, 5+5 lemonades.
Yay.
I just started bawling immediately when I saw William standing in the train. I think it was beautiful how he was just waiting there to guide Rebecca through all the different sections, all the different phases of her life. I think it just was gorgeous to watch. And like I said, I just cried the whole way through. What I want to do is, instead of giving a review of this episode, I want to give you and all the other listeners a little tip. I would recommend you all to go back to season 1, episode 5, The Game, if you haven't seen it for a while, because this is the episode where Kevin explains to the little girls, Annie and Tess, what the meaning is behind the painting that is hanging on the wall of the cabin house. Just watching it, seeing him explain how it's representative for life, for all the different generations coming together, being intertwined, and how life doesn't end when the one goes, but new life begins. Just watching these 2 episodes back to back, I think just makes the perfect explanation. It's wonderful, and I could recommend all of you to just go back and enjoy it for a little more. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Lisa, great recommendation.
Yes, and Lisa, just so you know, hey, Minute with Mary is in your country.
No.
So I want you to send us an email because I want to send you something. I think you're our first listener from the Netherlands.
Oh, well, we've had, I think so.
That's called in. So send us
a
message, marianblakemedia@gmail.com, because I want to send you something, and I might be going there in October.
Oh, that's...
Remember my convention, my European convention that's cheaper to fly to than me going to my actual America's convention?
Okay. Well, Lisa, you call us, and we'll set up a...
I may not go. Yeah. I may not go. In my dreams, I can go, but send us an email.
Lisa, you bring up a great point, and that is the painting with Kevin. Obviously, it is a big deal to the show because they bring it back for the end of the series. What I like about your recommendation, obviously you recommended it, but also because I love when shows tell you exactly what it's going to be up front. I always bring it up. I will die on this hill. Chernobyl is one of my favorite shows because it tells you, the first lines of the film are, what is the cost of lies? And it explores the cost that happened to these people because the Russian government tried to, cover up Chernobyl. And in doing so, I went through the exercise of the actual process. But it wasn't about the thing exploding. It was, what is the cost of lies?
Yeah.
And in this case, This Is Us is, what is life? Like, what happens to us throughout life, and how can we reconcile all the things that happen in our life when it begins and in the middle and in the end? What is that? What is that process? And the show told you straight up, right in the beginning, life is one big giant mess. And it doesn't begin, it doesn't end, it just goes. And I love that. We should have known right from the beginning how this show was going to end.
Yeah.
Should have known right from the beginning.
Hey, Mary. Hey, Blake. My name is Jessica.
Hi, Jessica.
I'm from North Carolina, but I'm a truck driver, and I listen to you guys on the road.
All right.
And I just got to say, Blake, you are so intuitive.
Oh, thanks.
You guessed a lot of things, and I'm not going to spoil whether they're right or wrong, but you're very, very smart. Mary, you are really a fan, and I love that about you. I'm currently on the first season with your podcast, so I don't know how long you guys have been doing your podcast, but I just have to say it is so great to find people who are obsessed with Outlander.
She's calling about Outlander.
So, I hope you guys have a great day.
Well, Jessica, thank you.
You're making the most wonderful podcast ever, and I just love the show.
She'll never hear this, but thanks, Jessica.
I hope she listens to This Is Us at
I hope
some
so
point and
too.
watches that show.
And she'll get a real surprise.
Yes, she will
6
one day.
seasons later.
Yes.
Hi, Mary and Blake. Millie here from the UK.
Hi, Millie.
I've absolutely loved the This Is Us 2 podcast. Listening has got me through my weekly 2-hour commute. And honestly, it's been a real lifeline for me to connect with other fans and to have you guys accompany me in the car talking about my favourite show. So thank you so much. This Is Us absolutely broke me this week. The details, the visual storytelling, the book ending, and Mandy fricking Moore.
Yes.
Need I say more? These characters know and understand each other in a way that is just exquisite television to watch. It's a 5+ lemonades from me. My only bad was kind of wishing that Miguel had been in the final carriage with Jack and Rebecca. I know that seems an odd choice, but I think it would have been cathartic to come to accept that Rebecca had 2 loves of her life that she could reunite with. But honestly, I'm just in awe of what these writers have achieved. It's so rare to get to know the entire life of a family in the way that we've been able to with This Is Us. It feels real, authentic, but my heart is breaking to know that we only have 1 week left. That's all from me. Keep doing what you're doing. Love to both of you and fellow fans listening.
Thank you, Millie. Thank you for calling in. I'm glad we were able to provide a community for you. That's why we're here.
Yes.
We just want community and being able to nerd out about the things that we love. I also want to say that if Afreen can't take the job of narrating my life, Millie can narrate my life as well.
Agreed.
Maybe it's just like an English accent thing. I don't know.
I think it is, Blake. That's the connection between the two of them. So, yeah.
All right, we got our last voicemail. You ready, Marvin?
I sure am.
All right, here we go. Let's get the last voicemail in. Of course, my computer. Hold on one sec. There we go.
Hi, Mary and Blake. This is Bunny from Cincinnati commenting on This Is Us,
Hey,
the
Bunny.
train episode.
All right.
I enjoyed this episode, if you can enjoy someone dying, but I didn't cry as much as I thought I would. I felt like we spent entirely too much time on the Deja and Marco/Malik story. I thought the train idea was good, and I understand why they used Randall's biological dad to escort Rebecca through the train cars. But I really thought that they would have given us a real twist like they've done so many times. I think they should have used the same twist they used in Season 1, Episode 1. Have a man that we don't know be the person escorting Rebecca through the train, and find out in the end that he was actually the 3rd triplet who died. I think that would have been the best bookend for the series. But who am I but some jabroni who watches TV? So take care, and thanks a lot. Bye.
Marvin, your thoughts on that idea having Kyle be the person who guides Rebecca on the train?
And we talked about this a little earlier, that I think I think Kyle is different for every person. I
Yep.
think Kyle is different whether you're a parent or not, whether you've lost a child or not. And for fellow parents who have lost a child in pregnancy or right at birth, and you didn't really get to meet this person. You didn't get to know their personality. You didn't get to know what color eyes they have. You didn't get to know what their voice sounds like. I think for some people, it wouldn't have worked for. And for me, and this is just my own journey, Blake and I lost 2 pregnancies last year. I don't think of those children as someone that I'm going to meet as an adult in the afterlife. I think, I think often about, this could have been their birthday, like what their due date was, or as I said earlier, what milestones they would have been accomplishing. I think what makes it hard for me, is I have friends who've had babies who have been born and been healthy around the same time frame that we would have had our children. So I'm able to see those babies and see like that's what our baby would maybe be doing right now. That's how our baby might have been acting right now, would have been wearing, the adventures we would have gone on. But my baby didn't get to have that, so I don't know those aspects of them. And to me, our babies didn't get to become adults who would lead me on a train. That if I get to see those babies in the afterlife, they will be as babies.
Yeah.
Because they didn't
have an opportunity to.
They didn't have an opportunity to grow in their interests and hobbies and quirks and preferences and all that kind of stuff. So but that's why I'm saying is everyone's journey and everyone's opinion in this is very, very personalized.
Sure. I think it's an interesting take. I hadn't thought about, Kyle being the one that guided her. I would still argue that William is the perfect choice. I think the only other person that I would accept as the guide would be Dr. K. I think that would have been cool. And if like Dr. K and William switched places.
I think the kids could have done it. The big 3. I think Jack could have done it.
No, I don't
No,
think
I know,
so.
but I'm just saying like I would have been fine with them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But that's my personal opinion.
But then we go on the theory, right, of, well, she only speaks to people that we know are dead, right? So it has to be someone who's an equal. It has to be someone...
Because she doesn't see them post what they were. She doesn't see old, decrepit Kevin or Randall.
Right.
She sees them the maximum age that they were.
Right.
She doesn't see Jack as her aged equal. Like had we seen an older version of Kyle, a young man of Kyle, that didn't get to happen on Earth.
Right.
And so when she lays down next to Jack, it's not 90-year-old Jack to mimic her age. It's Jack.
It's mustache Jack.
Yeah. So
at her age.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree.
But I like the idea, and that's why I'm saying like I'm honoring her opinion, and I'm honoring anyone's opinion who wanted Kyle there in some way, shape, or form. Because
it's
it's
an
not
interesting
that it's
take.
wrong. It's it's just.
I think practically, thematically, visually, it would be hard to pull off, and it would. I think, as a viewer, for me, it would be hard to swallow, because, again, Mary, as you said, Rebecca hadn't experienced it. So how could she have any conception of what Kyle would be? She just wouldn't. So it's an interesting take, but I think I disagree with it. But that doesn't mean it's not worthy or valid. So that's that. That's the end of our voicemails for this episode. You got anything else about this episode that you want to say before we do our in or out?
No.
All right, me neither. Let's get some in or out. Let's go.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
All right, Marvin. In or out on Vespers?
In.
I don't know if I'm in.
You don't like all those things?
Well, like it's pretty booze heavy, and I'm not a vodka guy. Like I want to be a vodka guy, but I don't think I am.
Huh.
I'm more of a whiskey bourbon guy.
See, I drink everything. Right?
If it's got booze, Mary drinks it.
Yeah. And I do like gin.
Yeah, I'm out on gin. I
know.
can tell you that.
I know.
I know that for a fact. I can kind
I'm
of
an
do
old-fashioned
vodka.
cocktail person. I'm into all that stuff. The only thing I don't like, the only thing is smoky. I don't like smoky whiskey. I don't like smoky.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that.
But aside from that, I'll do it.
I'm kind of out on smoky, that kind of whole like Blue Label, all those Johnny Walkers. Like I'm kind of out on that. I don't like that smoke feel to it. All right, in or out on mice, Mary? Mice in general, mice as pets or mice whatever. I don't know. Just in or out on mice.
I'm in.
I'm out.
I'm not in that I want them in my house.
Yeah, I want nothing to do with them.
But I appreciate the purpose which they serve in the grand scheme of life in
What do they
the
do?
world.
What do they even do?
They help like clean up Earth's trash and
That's rats.
No, not like humans' trash, Earth's trash. So like nuts and seeds
gotcha.
and things like that. They help. They're like worms.
You know
but
what?
like
The
above
nut and
worms.
seed community is extremely upset with you right now. They call them trash.
Earth's trash. Earth's trash, Blake.
I know. I'm just making the joke, Mom.
Oh, and I appreciate that they help us tremendously.
That was
with
my
science.
Toby moment. I had to explain the joke.
I appreciate mice.
Out on mice.
And like we have a cat, so mice don't come in our house.
Yeah, and that's why I'm out on mice.
Okay.
Because mice, I don't see a purpose. They just walk around.
I don't like rats, but I'm okay with mice.
I don't even see a point for rats either. Just
Rats-
any one of those that
No,
whole
I don't want rats.
that
I
whole
like mice.
family line of things.
And I used to have
Out.
hamsters and gerbils.
Nope. Don't see a point for those either.
They're cute,
They're all useless.
but they're nocturnal, so don't have them in your room.
Yeah, you don't want any of that stuff in your room.
Well, I learned.
Because they're weird.
I learned.
All right, in or out on fake outs, like the Marcus fake out.
I'm in. Reminds me of Goosebumps.
In what capacity?
Goosebumps books, man. Growing up, those are fake outs left and right. Watch out. She's dead. Watch out. It wasn't a ghost. It was your mom. Watch out. The dog actually is a werewolf.
Yeah.
Goosebumps, OGs of fake outs.
Actually, a werewolf. You know what? I'm kind of in on fake outs.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in. I think the greatest fake out of all time is The Sixth Sense. When you realize that, hashtag spoilers, Bruce Willis is dead. And then you see how when you look back at it, you realize that nobody actually acknowledges him. And you don't even understand it when you're watching it. That's the kind of fake out that I'm in on.
I mean, we'll stay on the M. Night Shyamalan train. I mean, heck, it goes along with, I love that he is referenced in This Is Us multiple
That's true.
times.
Good point, yeah.
I loved, what was that one where they're living in a...
Oh, The Village.
I loved The Village.
Love The Village.
And I want to create it.
I think everybody...
I want to create an 80s village. Basically, I don't want my kids to be on social media.
Just Michael Jackson playing all day in Madonna.
Tang. Kids can play with other kids outside in their neighborhood. Come back when the streetlights are on.
Yep.
And I don't have to worry about scary stuff.
Yep. Fair enough. I like this idea.
Ice pops are pretty much your lunch every day.
Miami Vice is the only thing that's on TV. That and Ghost Rider. Or Knight Rider, sorry. Not Knight Rider. Dungaroos. You can only call jeans dungarees.
I mean, bring me back, man. Let's make an 80s village.
Everybody gets issued a pair of Lee jeans.
I'm here for it.
Lee jeans and
I didn't even have
scrunchies.
Lee jeans.
And
I had scrunchies. I actually made my own scrunchies.
Leg warmers.
Did your sisters do that?
What?
Probably didn't because you guys were rich.
What?
Did they make their own scrunchies? Like sew their own scrunchies?
Oh, no, they didn't do that.
Yeah, that's what we did. That's what my people did. You first learned how to do it in sewing class.
The paws had to make their own. Had to make their own
well,
water
then you
guns.
got to personalize it.
And the paws had to make their own. Had to make their own scrunchies.
It's actually really cool because then you can make it based upon what you were wearing.
Did you do the multiple sock thing when you were growing up?
What does that even mean?
Oh, you did. Then you definitely didn't. Where you would wear one sock and then you would wear a different color sock and then you would put on another sock that's a different color from that.
Okay, so first off, I have really big feet, and my right foot is bigger than my left foot by like half a size.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I don't really often have room for thick socks.
Okay.
On my right foot. Traditionally, the foot of which your dominant side is slightly bigger.
Oh, okay.
You're welcome.
All right, fair enough. All right. In or out on...
I'm really tall. For people who don't know that about me, I'm 5'11". So I have big feet.
In or out on... you know what big feet means?
Big boobs.
I was going to say big socks, but sure, we can go there too.
No, I'm joking. It doesn't mean big boobs.
Not at all.
Okay.
In or out on fancy trains?
I'm super in.
I'm kind of into.
I know, because I took you on one.
No, I took you on one.
I told you to take me on it.
No, I was the one who came up with the idea to take you.
No.
Yeah.
Which one?
The dinner train.
Really?
100%.
Really?
Absolutely. You want to know why I know?
Why?
Because I was at work and I was looking up stuff to do.
Okay.
And I just happened to come upon the dinner train. I was like, oh, this is remarkable.
I mean, you don't think that I've told you about the dinner train multiple times since I was running an events podcast for our tiny state, and I probably didn't say we should do this someday?
Well, you didn't tell me. You may have told the podcast,
I probably
but you
told you
definitely
when it was
did
like
not tell
10:30.
me.
If I tell you on the podcast, you're the only person I'm actually looking at. So
Yeah, but you weren't speaking to me on the podcast. Okay. You were speaking to your co-host, who was not me.
Oh, maybe I used my psychic powers to tell you.
You incepted
fancy
me.
Fancy dinner trains, yes, if they're under 4 hours. After that, goodbye.
No, I'm just in on fancy trains. Like I like the idea of going on. I want to be in one of those trains that like you go in and you sleep, and it almost like the Orient Express. Give me Orient Express, where we dress up and we do the whole thing.
My favorite sleep stories to listen to when I meditate and go to sleep are trains.
I'm going to co-sign on that one.
I already know which one I want to go on in Europe.
Was it the Amsterdam one?
Hold on. I'll find it. Continue.
Okay. All right. In or out, Marvin, on fancy red dresses?
Oh, super in.
Oh, super in. That's like one of the things that you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, is that my favorite thing to do on this planet is to take Mary shopping. And not just like Target shopping or whatever, because I'm out on that. But I want to take her shopping to get clothes.
It's the Nordland Night Train along the scenic coast of Norway. That's the one I want to go on.
Oh, man.
But I also like to listen to... let's see, because I specifically like one reader, but I like the Far North Line. I love.
Don't you like that guy
Ireland
Kevin Bra, whatever the heck his name is?
Bra.
Eric Bra.
The Glacier Express. I'm a big fan of.
Hi, I'm Eric Bra.
I mean, here, let's just for 1 second, friends.
My name's Eric Bra, and tonight we travel to the Arctic Circle aboard one of the most beautiful and remote railway journeys in all of Europe.
That's what I listen to.
Marvin, we're not supposed to put people to sleep yet.
In all of Europe.
I'm Eric Bra.
Oh, it's so good. Continue. Listen, us with anxious minds, we need a little assistance, and if Eric Bra can help me in Norway, I'm here for it.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to do is take Mary dress shopping, or like accessory shopping, or like.
I hate shopping.
Oh,
I loathe shopping.
It's one of my. I get such pleasure out of this. Maybe it's because my fascination with Pretty Woman. I don't know.
Maybe it's because you were rich growing up and shopping was fun, and it wasn't like, oh, sorry, have you babysat enough to pay for that? No.
Sorry, Mary, you're a poor. You can't afford that.
Listen, man. You will see when your kids want clothes that...
No, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying I enjoy the process of...
Plus, I've got an oddly shaped body. I'm a giant with big tatas,
Yep.
no butt.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Uh-huh.
You got a bum.
Oh, good. Didn't know.
You got a bum.
Good.
I don't know. I just love that whole process. That's my favorite thing. All right. In or out on Kate going to England?
In.
I'm kind of out.
What the heck is wrong with you?
Because
Why can't she go to
your
England?
mother's wicked sick right now. You know your mother's wicked sick. And you know that she and Kevin had some conversations being like, hey, things don't look good. And all of a sudden, you're just like, yay, go to England.
Okay, so, Blake, with long illnesses like this, you go through phases where it's like, oh, she may not make it. And then you go, and she's freaking fine. And she's good for 2 more years, okay? Rebecca didn't want them to put their lives on hold. So...
Yeah.
I bet you she had this trip planned for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And she kept figuring out, is it okay? Is it okay? The nurse probably said, yeah, you probably got a couple more months. Go for it.
Mm-hmm. All right, in or out, Marvin, you finally tried it. People have been dying to know.
What?
In or out on walnut shrimp.
Oh, I'm in.
You're in.
I gotta say, thought that there would be a little bit more to just walnuts and shrimp. Thought
Like
there
what?
might be some,
What do you think there's going to be?
I don't know. I thought there was going to be like carrots.
Tangerines?
I thought there was going to be some vegetables. What are we doing? Keto, but it's not because it's fried.
What are you going to get?
And stuff.
Freaking salmon with it too? Like
No, I just thought that there would be some like sweet vegetables along with it. Maybe some, maybe some little sweet peas, snow peas, even snow peas.
I ordered the walnut shrimp, but where's the steak?
I don't need broccoli, but maybe something a little bit refreshing. It was
snow peas,
tempura fried shrimp.
Yes,
with walnuts with sweet sauce. Great, delicious.
So it is what it said it was.
Yes, there is no question. No, rice even came with it. Who are we?
Do the pancakes come with it too?
But it was yummy. But it was not healthy.
It was walnut shrimp.
Yes. Very good.
All right.
I just thought there'd be more to it. I didn't want to just have just that taste
so
in my
funny.
mouth. Give me some variety. Give me some stir fry.
Oh, that was so funny. All right. In or out on pregnancy texts. I'm sorry, pregnancy results over text.
She needed a little sunshine. So I'm okay with it in that scenario. Would I have normally done that? Nope.
Yeah, I don't think I'm in on it.
But her grandmother was dying. There was a lot of sadness, and I think she needed a little lighthouse moment.
She needed to pick me up.
And then he came over.
He did come over.
So, mission accomplished. Bye.
Fair
Stop
enough.
working. Malik works at a restaurant late at night.
Yeah, and how is he not in the political field?
Well,
Like the kid went to Harvard.
Maybe he's working late at night because maybe he's getting his master's in something, and maybe that's the shift that he has to work at night to help pay for extra bills.
All right, fair. I'll accept that.
Yeah,
I'll accept that.
And or maybe he finds a lot of passion in a restaurant. Maybe he owns a restaurant. I don't know.
He's a little young to be owning a restaurant.
Who knows? This is Malik who went to Harvard.
That's true.
Maybe he has like a really cutting edge restaurant that caters to Harvard kids that need something to eat
You know
late
what
at
his
night.
specialty is? Walnut shrimp with pancakes.
There you go. Maybe he's got the best restaurant across from Harvard.
Freaking Harvard kids.
That's the first place that I ate lamb.
Really?
Was Harvard, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
interesting.
there's a really good Indian restaurant across from them.
Freaking Harvard.
Yeah, they've got some good food. I'm telling you, because they study so late. They don't really sleep normal hours.
Sucks. That whole.
No, it does not,
it
Blake.
sucks.
You're just jealous.
No, I'm not jealous
You're
of
jealous
nothing.
of multiple other things.
Friggin' Harvard kids.
It's beautiful.
It sucks just like Connecticut sucks.
Okay, which just means he's jealous. Connecticut and Harvard people. Continue.
Last one, in or out on Toby being better than Philip.
In what stance? As a
just
husband?
overall.
As,
Just overall. You like Toby or you like Philip? Which one you got?
Like, who do I want to get stuck in the cabin with?
I don't know. Which
Like, who do I want to be married to? Who do I want to go on a 6-week vacation with?
I think I'm picking Toby in all of them.
Who do you want to have a fight with? Who do you want to raise kids with?
Toby's a little bit bigger guy. I think I could take Philip. I don't think I could take Toby.
I don't know. Neither of them are my type. So.
Well, you're basically married to Toby.
No, I'm not.
How are you not?
You cry too much.
That's true. Good point.
And you wouldn't make those kind of jokes. Like, if you're uncomfortable with my family, you wouldn't make those kind of jokes. You make those jokes because you're comfortable with my family.
Good point. Good point.
So.
Fair enough. All right. That's it. That's what we got. That's the end.
And you wouldn't stick your feet in the mud and work far away.
I would not.
I'm the Taurus.
You would stick your feet in the mud and work far away. Oh.
You wouldn't even fathom moving away. You wouldn't. You would
No,
just
I
cry.
wouldn't.
You would do it one day and say, I can't do it.
Yeah, it's true.
I need to snuggle you.
That's 100% true.
I got a fake doll version of you in the bed. It doesn't even work. Doesn't count. Doesn't smell like you. Doesn't tickle my feet with your feet in the middle of the night like you do. I don't care that it pays me $1 million. I'm coming home.
100%
We'll have
true.
poor people parfait. Our kids will have to study for the SATs, but I don't care.
I'll do the stupid
You're my bride.
I'll do the milk jug water guns.
Yeah.
soda bottles.
There you go. Milk jugs would be just they're the cannons. Like, not only was I poor, but I knew how to recycle and reuse. They are great freaking cannons, man. You throw that thing, boom. Play the soundtrack of Hamilton. Boom. Boom. 2%. 1%. Whole milk. Mary Lawson's here. I'm going to teach our kids to be so resourceful.
Oh my God, that just hurt my stomach. I got a cramp in my stomach now.
I MacGyvered so much shit when I was 8.
Oh my God.
Watch out.
Oh.
I told you, we used to get the water, not from our spigots.
From the pool.
From, our pool or some random neighbor's pool. Didn't even have kids. Across the street, they had like one of those deep pools, the ones in the ground, the in-ground pools. See, that's not common either, Blake. Those are called the deep pools.
You know, one of those deep pools,
you can actually
one?
jump in those.
I had one.
I know you did, Blake. Not only did you have one, but it has the letter L on the bottom of it for Larson.
That was later on.
Yeah,
that,
but
that
exactly. That's how posh, okay? Not only can they have an in-ground pool, but the bottom of it has to have a tiled, fancy cursive L. Just in case people come over and they think, is this my pool? No.
No.
It's the Larson pool. Larsons own this pool. Blake's baseball field is the Larson field.
That's true.
Because they freaking bought the field.
No, we didn't buy
whatever
it.
you did, it says Larson Field.
No, it was because of all of the work that my family did.
How the heck did you play on that field and kids not be like, are you
No,
freaking kidding me?
It was named after the family after I was done.
Okay, good. At least that happened.
Yeah, and they chose to name it because my mother died.
Okay, now I feel better.
And they wanted to recognize all of the stuff that they had done for the league. So they named it after my mom and my dad.
Oh, now I feel better.
How you feel now?
Better. Still have an L at the bottom of the pool.
That's 100% true. Oh, my God. All right, here we go. Let's close this bad boy out, shall we?
We shall.
All right, here we go.
Thank you all so much. We still have a finale to get to.
That's true.
So guess what? Most likely, if y'all start to call in and have a lot of things for the finale, we might have to have a listener feedback episode for the finale too. Oh my goodness gracious. Are we going all out? Yeah. Will it be in a timely manner? No. But y'all know this is how we roll in 2022.
Yep, things just happen as they happen, man.
I might eat some walnut shrimp, have a Vesper. Probably not, because it'll put me to sleep.
I think we should have Vespers for the finale podcast. Because it's going to be live, right?
I asked you to get all the ingredients.
Yeah, but the kids were
That's
not
why we have
asleep.
delivery.
Well, why didn't you just get it delivered?
Because I was doing a meeting.
No, but after that.
I was working.
I was working too.
My name's Mary.
My name's Blake.
This is us too.
Interesting.
I'm going to get a milk jug.
The cannon.
Boom.
Skim milk.
Lactate. Because that would have been mine.